Hello and welcome to Budweiser Gardens for Game 3 of the 2016 NBL Finals between the hometown London Lightning and the visiting Halifax Hurricanes. Good evening, my name is Marty Thompson and I'm joined as always by Chris Croucher. Chris, London managed to get the split in Halifax and here we are, tied at 1-1.
Yeah, they managed to get a split, but I think there's going to be some concern over what happened in Game 2. Anytime your team allows 133 points, there's probably plenty to work on. I think the London Lightning would have liked to have that second game. If they played a little better defense, they could have stayed in that a little longer. And they're going to come into this one trying to see if those adjustments are going to work. And it's the same thing for Halifax. Both these teams are really going to lean on their adjustments coming into this one.
London winning Game 1 after an extended break by the Halifax Hurricanes. They obviously swept their first two series of these playoffs. On London's side, one of the big performers in last game was Garrett Williamson.
Yeah, and I really like what Garrett Williamson brings when he's in the lineup. One of his best assets is his defense, and the way he's able to take a player out of a game, it helps the overall team defense as well. Because when you're able to have Garrett neutralize it, it just becomes a game of 4-on-4 at that point. So if Garrett can play that kind of defense, bring in those minutes, and last game he was scoring too, he's really found his form again in these playoffs. And I think a big performance is coming his way in this game because he's really been integral for the London Lightning, not just in his scoring, but the other things he's able to do for this team.
Looking towards the Halifax Hurricanes, they were very, very good in Game 2, running up the score in the fourth quarter, which London wasn't really a big fan of, but we'll get to that later. A couple of important players for them. You've got Shane Gibson, Joel Friesen. Your thoughts on them, big performers?
Well, I love the game that both of these guys played in Game 2, especially Joel Friesen, who was a runner-up for Canadian of the Year, not officially, but I imagine. And he came in and had a huge game, 28 points, and did a lot of damage. And it wasn't a case of everyone was just having easy buckets. A lot of Friesen's were very challenged shots, and he was just able to connect on them. He was feeling it all game long. And the same goes for Gibson. Gibson's been the same pretty much all playoffs. He's only had 2 games where he's been under 10 points, but both those games were elimination games that Halifax had well in hand. So they weren't really too concerned about having to play Gibson that many minutes. I think the most he played was 23 minutes in those 2 games. But other than those, he's been scoring like crazy. He'd probably be averaging about 20 points per game if it weren't for those 2 low performances, because they brought the average down. His number's really close to 19, 20 points per game. I think it's at like 17 right now. Right. And so for him to come in here and have Friesen as well, when both of them are shooting, who do you cover? Because you can put Gibson on one side, Friesen on the other, and no matter who's got the ball, there's an outlet pass to a 3-point shooter, because you can have them on either side. And then when you have them substituting in and out for each other, that just makes sure that you have that person in your lineup that can nail that 3 and continue to be dangerous without having to change much on offense.
We've got a lot yet to talk about, and we will get to that after the national anthem here at Budweiser Gardens.
And join us as we observe a moment of silence in honor of Miss Sheena.
And we're back up here in the booth. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher with you for Game 3 of the NBLC Finals between the London Lightning and the visiting Halifax Hurricanes. We were talking a bit about the Hurricanes before we took the break for the national anthem. Another player to watch out for, it's got to be Billy White.
Yeah, Billy White got his nose a little beat up in Game 1 there, and he's been wearing a mask. And the reason I say watch Billy White is we saw in Game 2 his shooting. He struggled with it a bit in Game 2, and you really don't understand until you've had to have that mask on how much that can really affect your shot, and not just your confidence in your shot, but also your ability to make it, because when you're looking for your shot, it's all about feeling comfortable. And when you have that mask on, you feel it's hot, it's sweaty, it's pretty gross under there, you feel uncomfortable, and there's a little extra thing in your peripheral vision that usually isn't there, and that kind of messes up with your shot a bit. And it takes a while to adjust to. And Billy White was a really big performer for Halifax in the early goings of the playoffs. And he hasn't really been able to do that. One, because his nose got broken. I imagine broken if he's wearing the mask. And two, because he has to get used to that mask now. So Billy White's a guy that really could turn it on if he starts to feel better about that mask and starts to really feel comfortable in his shot. And could be a little bit of a sleeper maybe to have a big game here, because now he's had 2 games and an entire weekend to really get used to having to wear that mask. So keep an eye on Billy White in this one. If we don't see a lot of him, it's because the nose is probably bothering him more than we thought. But if we do see a lot of him, look for him to be a guy that maybe plays a little better than we saw in Game 1 and 2.
Well, Billy White coming in at 6'8", and he still towers over most of this London Lightning team, and that's really been a big storyline through the first 2 games, is the size difference between these 2 teams.
And that's really been a storyline anytime a team has played London, and they've been perfectly fine having Stephen Maxwell at the 5. They've been doing okay with that, but I think at this point, we've mentioned before that Maxwell may be getting a little bit tired, and he's shown that he's still got it going, and also teams are game planning around him, so that makes it a little more difficult for him to really get going on the offensive end. We've seen his scoring numbers down, he's not rebounding as much, and that also has to do with who Halifax has. They've got a lot of big men who get a lot of rebounds, and the reason there isn't really a single player on Halifax that gets a ton of rebounds is because so many of them are capable of it. So you see a lot of guys like Mike Glover, a guy like Hunt, who are able to get a ton of rebounds, but not necessarily average a ton, because it depends on the game, really. So it'll be interesting to see in this one how Maxwell's able to perform. He's back on his home court, and if fatigue was an issue, then the fact that he's able to stay at home means he's probably going to come into this one well rested. As we see here at center court, Walter Gretzky's in town, and the team's taking a photo with him there.
Another big storyline out of those first 2 games, Chris, was the ball movement, really on both sides with both teams, both Halifax and London.
Yeah, and I think it's funny, I was talking with my brother, who's also a big NBL fan, and he brought up an old coaching cliche that I think is perfectly describing these 2 teams. That's that moving the ball gives it energy. And so when you move the ball around, it just gets a little more energy with every pass, and then when you build up that energy, it makes the shot go in much easier. And I could not agree more, especially in regards to how these 2 teams played. I thought London kind of lost the game when they started playing more one-on-one. The offense obviously wasn't a problem for either team in Game 2, but I think London kind of started playing a little bit more one-on-one than they would have liked, and not as structured, and Halifax had it where they were making pass, then took the shot. And I think that was the difference in that fourth quarter that gave the lead to the Halifax Hurricanes, and of course they took it all the way home. And now they're here in London, they're going to try and do the same thing. I mean, when you score 133 points, there's not a whole ton of adjustments that you have to make on the offensive end. But I think both teams aren't happy about their defensive effort. So coming into this game, I expect there to be a lot more physicality. I expect there to be a lot more crashing and banging than we've seen between these 2 teams in the first 2 games. Not that there wasn't any of the physical play, but I think we're going to see even more of it. And to me, that's a test against Halifax more than it is a test against London, because London just played a physical series and they held their own against Windsor Express. Halifax, they played St. John, which, they had some scuffles, but there was less interior physical play. And I think
it was done in 4 games as well.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's more of a test for Halifax if they have to play that physical game. I think they're more than up to it, but we also haven't seen it, so I can't say that 100% certainty. So coming into this one, they're both going to play more physical. They're both going to try and lock down on defense, and they're both going to want to move the ball a lot better than London did in the fourth quarter of that game.
Starting lineups for the visiting Halifax Hurricanes: Joel Friesen, Clifford Clinkscales, Ronaldo Dixon, Kyle Hunt, and Shane Gibson to round out their starting 5. Keep in mind, you look to that front court, Chris. You've got Ronaldo Dixon, who was in London Lightning camp, I believe, at the start of the season, sitting at 6'9". You've got Kyle Hunt at 6'10". Hunt went 10 for 15 from the field, or has gone rather 10 for 15 from the field in this series.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good lineup here that Hugo Lopez is bringing out, because he knows that he's got the size advantage over the London Lightning. So why not use it? By having Dixon and Hunt in the game, they've got 2 guys who are taller than everyone on the London Lightning. So that's kind of Coach Lopez playing his cards right off the bat. He's not trying to hide it. He's going to come out here and try to have a better interior presence than there was in Game 1.
Well, you look towards the London Lightning starting 5. You've got Akeem Wright in there, which we'll talk about in a bit. Stephen Maxwell, Garrett Williamson, Warren Ward, and Akeem Scott. Going back to Akeem Wright, massive Game 1. They're going to look to him again here in Game 3.
Yeah, he had a very quiet Game 2, though, and that's one thing I said earlier in the playoffs was that when Akeem Wright's best as your second option. If Akeem Wright is at his best, it's when he's working as a guy who kind of gets lost on the offensive end. Defenses forget about him. So whenever you've got, for example, Akeem Scott is going off, or Nick Okori shooting the ball well, that's where Akeem Wright is at his best, because when those guys are shooting a threes, that's when Akeem Wright can kind of sneak out. And when a Scott or an Okori get in trouble, there's the kick out to right, 3-pointer, and we've seen that so many times. So I think London's at their best when Akeem Wright is the second option. Akeem Wright had a great first game, and he's been fantastic all playoffs. But again, you're better with him getting his chances off of a pass rather than trying to create himself.
100%. And you mentioned that being that second or third option in Game 1, Chris. Nick Okori went 4 for 8 from the field in Game 1. 50%, not bad, for a shooter like him, but for him, it's been really good for these playoffs.
And for Nick Okori, I think it's a little bit of a confidence thing, because he came back to the Lightning. He didn't have the year he was hoping for. We saw some just not very good shooting percentages coming from him, whether it was during the season or during the playoffs. But we've seen in the playoffs his role got smaller. And I think one of the best things that happened for Nick Okori in this season was the Lightning having other players step up. So Okori became more of a complementary piece. He was able to just kind of work his shot back. I think he has his shot back. I think he's another candidate who could blow up in one of these games, because he's such a dynamic scorer, and now he's got the confidence in his jumper back. Maybe he can come into this game and take a lot more shots than we've seen from him really most of the playoffs. He had a big game against the Orangeville A's, but for the most part, it's been more of the 10, 12-point variety type of games from Nick Okori. So he could come in here and be that forgotten man on offense and maybe put up 20, and that's part of what makes London so dangerous, is they have a lot of guys who can just sort of go off on big nights. That's not to say Halifax doesn't have depth, though. There's actually 6 players on the Hurricanes averaging double digits in the playoffs, and 7 if you count Cliff Clinkscales. He's at 9.8 points per game, so basically 10 here. So there's a lot of players who are able to put the ball in the basket for the Halifax Hurricanes, but there's less of the explosive, I think, and I think that's where London needs to take advantage and really hope someone gets hot and they can just feed him shots all game long.
It's been a very, very intense series so far. If you caught wind of that, you saw Akeem Scott giving the pregame speech to the players in the huddle and being so intense, pointing towards the Halifax bench that he threw his headphones onto the court that he obviously had with him there. You could just see the intensity in Akeem Scott's face in particular, and now the huddle in front of London's bench. Game 3 of the 2016 NBLC Finals. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher up in the booth. This series is tied 1-1. 3 games in a row in London before the series could shift to Halifax for games 6 and 7. London, obviously with that big win in Halifax, means they have 3 games at home. They're able to win all 3. They are NBLC champions. London in white, Halifax in black. Thank you very much for tuning in here on Knockstrom. A lot of people watching in Halifax. Thank you very much for that. Budweiser Gardens is loud. Stephen Maxwell up against Dixon for the tip-off. The ball comes back down before Halifax is able to gain possession. Clinkscales gets his first touches on the ball here at Budweiser Gardens. Hunt with it, swings. Now to Dixon up top, 10 seconds on the shot clock. Fans waiting for the first London Lightning basket, they're all on their feet. Hunt gets it in the post. One hand, 3 seconds on the shot clock.
Gotta get rid of it.
Out of room, and that shot's going to be off there by Joel Friesen, but it's no good.
And that was some hounding defense there from the London Lightning. Great job, just made sure they stuck with their man in every corner of the court, gave nothing to the Hurricanes.
Scott hands it off to Akeem Wright. Akeem Wright loses it. Friesen with a fantastic steal caught the London Lightning sleeping. Clinkscales fires it over to the far side to Friesen. Not a whole lot of movement. 10 seconds on the shot clock. You see very much man-to-man. Gibson getting a bit of space on this near side. Fires it off to Clinkscales. He'll move along. Euro step, strip to the ball. And it will be Halifax ball with 2 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, good play there by Akeem Scott. Just gets rid of the ball. Make sure that Halifax doesn't really have much of a choice here.
Clinkscales on the inbound. Fires to Friesen. He'll get the shot off. It'll be up for 3, but it will fall down. And it will be London ball as they call the 24-second violation.
Yeah, again, great job by the London Lightning. Anytime you can force 2 24-second violations on the first 2 possessions, your team's really feeling it on defense. And I have a feeling that might have been a focus for the London Lightning after the last game.
Again, the fans in London still waiting for the first Lightning basket. 10:45 on the clock. Akeem Scott, no foul call, but they say it will fall out off of the Halifax Hurricanes. London ball inbound along the baseline.
Yeah, I think Scott was trying to do a little bit of a sell job on that one. Good job by the refs.
Williamson in motion, right underneath, swatted by Friesen, and that is going to be the first foul of the game.
Well, there's Garrett Williamson there. He's been a key player for the London Lightning in the playoffs. And on that play was kind of an example of how dangerous he can be, not necessarily wowing you with a deep three-pointer, but more he's able to cut to the basket and draw tons of fouls. And we saw a game during his first time with the London Lightning in which he shot 20 free throws in one game. So that just shows you how good he is at really drawing fouls, getting to the line, making it easier on London, as well as making it harder on the opposing team, because then they have to deal with foul trouble.
The 27-year-old with 23 points in Game 2. Foul call. Along the baseline here, it looks like it's going to go against London. That will be the first one for them. That's going to go against Warren Ward. London native recording the first foul here for the Bolts. 10:33 on the clock in the first. Clinkscales chips it up to Dixon, who will take it back. And Clinkscales, one guy to look out for if you haven't seen any Halifax Hurricanes games this season. I doubt you haven't, though. Averaging around 10 assists per game in these playoffs. Misses that shot. And now here come the London Lightning. Akeem Scott hands it off to Warren Ward. Now back to Scott. Akeem Wright with lots of space. He's going to move it down low all the way to the hoop.
And that's where Wright is at his best, when he gets lost on the offense. That time, his defensive assignment did not pick him up, but he was able to get the pump fake to get the late defender out of the way and just drive to the lane.
No foul call there as Gibson got that 3 off. Akeem Scott was in the mix, and they're going to blow that one down. Looks like it's going to be London ball along this near side.
Yeah, they're going to call a Halifax foul, I believe.
And it's going to go against Ronaldo Dixon in his first, team second. Again, we're about 2 minutes into this first quarter of play. Game 3 of the NBLC Finals. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher up in the booth. London and Halifax on the court. Ward. Contested. Gets that one to drop.
And Warren Ward's got his swagger early, and he's one of the most confident players and one of the better one-on-one guys in NBL Canada. And that time, an example, able to break down his defender and still nail a tough shot.
Akeem Scott picks up the ball. Maxwell to Garrett Williamson. Too easy for the Philly native.
London Lightning are feeling it right now. Hugo Lopez is going to take the first time out, and that's never a situation you want to be in as a coach. when you have to take a timeout just to stop an 8-0 lead, he clearly does not like what he's seeing at all, and I don't blame him.
8-0. Just like that, the London Lightning get off to a flyer at home here in Game 3.
And I think the crowd has to do with it too, because we saw a lot of the London Lightning players when they're coming into the arena, when they're warming up, they're just so much more comfortable here. And they come in, they've got this crowd, it's a very good-looking crowd here, and they were getting a little loud there. And I think London came into this one feeling a little energized. And I think the biggest momentum swing was that they got that 24-second shot clock violation on the very first possession, because that was a kind of pound your chest moment there. That gave the London Lightning a huge boost, and then to do it twice sent their confidence through the roof here. So I like the timeout. It's a little early. You never want to be the first coach to call the timeout, but Hugo Lopez obviously needs to calm his guys down and be like, relax. They're going to chill out a bit over on the sidelines while I tell you guys what we need to work on. So it's a good call by Hugo Lopez.
Mentioned it in the pregame, but Halifax running up the score a bit, ending up to getting to 133 points in their win on Friday. Running up the score a bit in the fourth quarter of that one, taking some nice dunks, entertaining the crowd in Halifax, but London's players specifically not a fan of that.
I was going to say that's a silly move if I'm the Halifax Hurricanes, because really, if you're running up the score, you know, that's great. You're beating them. You were already beating them, and now the score is even higher. You get the crowd into it, sure, but then you have to go into London and play a pissed-off London team in London. Not the best move.
Clinkscales with possession here for the Halifax Hurricanes. They've yet to score a point in this game. 9:11 on the clock in the first. Great passing. Joel Friesen alone for 3, misses it. He hits the front part of the rim. And Budweiser Gardens is loving it. Hakeem Scott takes a step around, finds Williamson, contested, drops! Fantastic bounce off of the backboard.
Garrett Williamson is just in a groove right now. He's got 6 of the Lightning's 10 points, and he is killing it right now.
Joel Friesen with it. 10-0. London with the lead, Halifax with the ball. Over top of Stephen Maxwell, and Ronaldo Dixon will get Halifax their first 2 points of the game.
A little surprised. That could have been a bit of offensive goaltending on that play, but the Halifax Hurricanes back on the board now, and we'll see if they can get something going.
Change coming up for the Hurricanes. You see Hakeem Scott getting fouled on his way towards the basket.
Just about hit Commissioner Magley with the ball there. Got the chair right beside him.
A couple of changes coming up. Ed Horton preparing to come on here for the London Lightning. Meantime, Billy White is coming on for Halifax and will replace Ronaldo Dixon, again, who just scored Halifax's first 2 points of this game.
You know, as we see Ed Horton about to come into the game here, he's a player I don't have enough good things to say about, because he has been fantastic for the London Lightning and really came in, as we see Hakeem Scott's going to miss the first one, but he came in and he really settled down the point guard position. And he's also able to work off the ball too. He doesn't necessarily need to have the ball in his hands to be effective. I mean, this is a guy who really didn't play much at all in the regular season. He played enough games to be eligible for the playoffs, but he really didn't play that many games at all, and he didn't play a ton of minutes either. But he's come into these playoffs, and in that second round series, he only played 3 games, but he averaged 13 points per game in those games. He's averaged 12 a game in the playoffs overall, and he's really been an asset that this team found in a rather unlikely place.
Clinkscales takes it up. Unable to finish. There's Kyle Hunt right underneath the hoop. Hakeem Wright with it on the other side here for London. Warren Ward contested 3 over Joel Friesen. Hits the rim, and it will be Halifax Hurricane ball. Gibson dribbling around right, moving it down low to Kyle Hunt, who collects it, evades the swat, but the ball will fall out of play off of London. Halifax with a fresh shot clock. Inbound coming here for London, or for Halifax rather. Again, the Hurricanes in black, London in white. Clinkscales looks around. Friesen with a fantastic play to keep the ball in as he fell into the first row of seats along this near side. Clinkscales switches it over. Gibson takes a step, jumper, gets that one to drop.
Tough shot there from Shane Gibson. He's really been one of the best scorers on the Halifax Hurricanes all playoffs long. He's one of the better jump shooters in the league. It's a real treat to watch him and Warren Ward and all these guys who are really excellent jump shooters all in the same game.
Billy White with lots of space on this near side. Great play there by Stephen Maxwell on the defensive end. Gets the slam on the offensive side.
What a play there from Stephen Maxwell. The crowd getting on their feet a bit here for the huge athletic play from the London center. Just, wow, he can dunk it. Oh,
great shot on that far side there. That was Gibson contested.
Well, perfect answer shot there from Gibson, and don't look now, but the Hurricanes are clawing themselves back in this game, only down 6 now.
Ward somehow keeps the ball there, shifts a couple of Halifax players out towards the halfway line. Wright slips on something in the key. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Ward, it's deep. It's no good.
Good defense there from the Hurricanes. That could have been another momentum swing, but they make sure they stay calm as Clinkscales goes for the 3. No good.
Hunt, great play there just to push Williamson out of the way, box him out really. That's going to be a foul. You saw Ed Horton moving to the hoop along with Shane Gibson. 6:17 on the clock in the first. London 13, Halifax 7 in Game 3 of the 2016 NBLC Finals. Mike Glover coming into the game. Kyle Hunt making way here for Halifax. Of course, Glover, the 6th man of the year, and led his team in a ton of categories, even though he rarely started.
Well, he was only a 6th man by name because really he played almost as many minutes as any of the guys who started just about every game for Halifax. Glover, really only a 6th man just because he didn't start most of those games. He plays tons of minutes. He's able to provide that interior toughness. I mean, look at the guy's shoulders. The dude could pretty much lift me if he wanted to. So the guy is a beast down low and a terror for the London Lightning.
Shane Gibson now up to 7 points after draining both of those free throws. Ball's tipped out of play there by Gibson, collected by Hugo Lopez right in front of the Halifax bench. 6:07 on the clock in the first, and London are making a pair of changes. Akeem Scott coming back into the game. Ryan Anderson coming in for the first time. Garrett Williamson and Warren Ward making way. As you can see, Akeem Scott getting set on the inbound on the far side. Makes the play call. Ed Horton moves down low. Ryan Anderson trying to find some space. He'll actually shift over. Akeem Scott with the 3, airballs it, and it'll be Halifax ball.
I think he was expecting some contact there, but Cliff Clinkscales didn't fall for it, and Akeem Scott just ended up taking an off-balance 3.
Of course, Marcus Capers into this game as well. He's getting set to contest the inbound coming from Halifax. There's looks like there's a shot clock out on this left side.
Back on.
Looks like it's just been plugged in. Someone must have just kicked a cable. And Halifax will shuffle the deck. Looks like Clinkscales will get set on the inbound. 5:55 in the first. As we mentioned before, this final series is in a 2-3-2 format. That means 2 games in Halifax, 3 games in London, and then 2 in Halifax. It's a nice shot there by Shane Gibson, missing the 3 though. So London playing at home tonight, Wednesday and Friday in games 3, 4, and 5. Akeem Wright tries to step around Mike Glover. Lots of space up top. This is Ed Horton on the near side. Misses the 3, collected quickly by Cliff Clinkscales. Gibson steps around, finds Mike Glover. He's fouled. Had an open shot at the net, and you just saw Marcus Capers throwing a hand down.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that foul from Marcus Capers. No easy buckets. At the same time, we've seen Marcus Capers get a couple of different blocks in that type of situation there, but Mike Glover a little bit stronger than some of the guys he's swatted in the past.
Mike Glover at the line. From Bronx, New York, gets that one to drop. So we've seen a lot of players from Chicago come into this London team, but with Halifax, it's really just all about the guys who are from New York. You got a couple guys from Queens as well. Kyle Hunt with Clinkscales as well. The borough is well represented in Halifax. Scott steps back, 5:12 on the first. Right, waits for some movement. Capers, steps, traveling.
And I think that might have been some gamesmanship from Coach Hugo Lopez. He's been in the refs' ear about travels for pretty much this entire first quarter, and now the refs are looking for it.
Friesen hands it off to Clinkscales. The 31-year-old keeps possession, waits for a bit of movement. Billy White with it. We mentioned that face mask he's wearing. He broke his nose, we believe, in game 1. Anyways, had a nose injury of some kind. Glover's fouled as he headed for the hoop, and we see Mike Glover once again going to the line. We're going to see a lot of that moving forward through the rest of this series because we mentioned it again, and it's really the elephant in the room. Halifax has size, and London does not.
Yeah, and London, again, they've done well considering that they don't have that tower in their lineup. But they've done a good job having Stephen Maxwell at the 5, and Marcus Capers has been playing pretty much at the 4. So they've had guys who are maybe undersized for their position, but have the athletic ability to make up for it.
And you see Halifax getting another point there. That'll bring them up to 12-2 in the last 4 minutes, outscoring London since London jumped out to that massive 11-0 lead. To tie this game up, Mike Glover misses that one. 4 fouls for London, 3 for the Hurricanes.
You know, it's interesting to note that there's a flag flying behind the rim on free throws. I wonder if that's an answer to something.
I believe it is. Just to fill the viewers in who aren't aware, there was a flag flying behind the London net during free throws in Halifax, and some players on London and some fans as well were not particularly pleased with that.
I don't know, I'm of the side that if you watch college basketball, they'll have like spinning discs that make it look like a hypnotist type thing, and the players are able to make free throws there.
You see Billy White missing that 3. Or they'll just have Michael Phelps. Great clip. I highly recommend looking up that clip. Ed Horton with it up top to Ryan Anderson on the near side. 4 minutes to go in the first. Swat there by Gibson. Not giving Anderson any space. He kicks the ball out, and that's going to fall out off of London. He's not pleased with that defense, but the refs say it's clean, and there's going to be a London Lightning timeout.
Well, Coach Julius just yelling at the ref here. I think Halifax might have got away with one on that. But Coach Julius livid, yelling at the refs. And we go into this timeout. London can't be happy because we've seen just a huge comeback from the Halifax Hurricanes. And that speaks to Hugo Lopez as a coach, the kind of adjustments that they were able to come out and make after that timeout.
Again, 13-12. If you're just tuning in, London off to a fantastic start, 11-0. And then you have the Hurricanes coming out blistering after a couple of timeouts there. Just one, I believe, from Hugo Lopez, and all of a sudden, this game's nearly tied. Again, we can expect a lot of this. This is really the finals. We really haven't had a chance to talk about these two teams. Of course, our last broadcast was Game 5 of the Central Division Final, but these are the two teams that everyone thought were going to the finals from pretty much the first weekend of play. I remember how Halifax started, London obviously losing that heartbreaker in Niagara, but you know, that end of December stretch, January, London got on that 11-0 run. Halifax never really had a blip during the regular season. They were very, very consistent, and if you take out the St. John Millrats, they lost 6 games to them. I mean, other than that, they were superb against everyone in the league, obviously splitting their season series with London 1-1.
And it's kind of interesting that it was the 2 number 1 seeds that came in, and it's not for lack of trying. I mean, St. John Millrats, even though Halifax was pretty much number 1 the whole way, St. John Millrats gave them a run around the mid-season for that top spot, and then London dealt with a late surge from the Windsor Express in a very tough playoff series as well.
Gibson can't quite collect the ball. There's going to be a foul call. It's
going to be on White there for, it looked like a push-off.
White does not seem pleased about it regardless. That will be his first foul. Both teams now up to 4 fouls in the quarter. And it looks like Garrett Williamson has come to the game, and Ed Horton has made way. Horton upset on the bench and takes a step in behind. Scott with possession up top. Anderson steps back. This is Wright. The key's wide open. Williamson will move along the baseline. Wright spins, draws the double team, switches around. This is Ryan Anderson with the deep 3. He misses it. Oh, Garrett Williamson collects. He'll be fouled.
Mike Glover again, just with the tough foul there. Make sure it's not an easy bucket. Williamson was asking for the flagrant 1, but I don't think he's going to get it.
A couple words exchanged there as Mike Glover looks back towards the Halifax bench. Garrett Williamson at the line. We mentioned before, 23 points in Game 2. Really coming into his own here in this playoff run. Obviously, injuries hampered him during the regular season, but he's really become the clutch performer that London has already obviously seen with his time at the club before this season.
He had a rough regular season. He dealt with injuries pretty much the whole year, but he's really bounced back in a really strong way in the playoffs.
Klingscales. Gibson fires it down low. Mike Glover quick to grab. Down low, 3 London Lightning players around him. He still gets the bucket. Mike Glover with a fantastic play. No foul. This game is tied. Right. Pushes off of White and he misses that one. White will collect the rebound. 2:40 on the clock in the first. This is Klingscales, fires it across to Wright. Now to Bowdry, he's coming to the game. He misses that 3. He wasn't quick to grab that rebound though, and it's tipped out to London. Wright with it for the Bolts. Scott collects the ball there. Looks like it fell out off his foot. Lucky he didn't roll any farther. Bounce pass to Capers. He doesn't grab the ball and follow to play off of London, so Halifax getting set on the inbound in front of their own bench.
If I'm Hugo Lopez, I'm looking at this unit that the London Lightning have out there, and it looks like it's about to get changed. But right now, there's no one on the court for London that can really handle the size of Mike Glover. I'd just be feeding him as many touches as I can right now.
You see Glover matching up against Akeem Wright. Oh, great pass there to Bowdry. Fantastic play for the Hurricanes to give them their first lead of the game.
And there you see how Glover can do damage on more than just the score sheet. That time makes a beautiful pass out of the post as Akeem Scott goes up and draws a foul there. But Mike Glover, a guy who he's able to pass a lot better than you would think a big man can. And because London didn't really have anyone out there, he was able to post up Akeem Wright, just kind of do whatever he wanted down there. So that's going to change with Maxwell coming into the game. I think that's being a change being made by Coach Julius to try and answer the strength of Glover right now.
Interesting to see how they shuffle the deck. Meantime, looks like Halifax is making another change. Justin Johnson coming into this game. Chris, we talked a bit off camera about Justin Johnson's impact in those first 2 games, and he's really a boogeyman for the London Lightning.
Yeah, he's been an absolute monster shooting the ball. He's had huge point totals in pretty much all playoffs long, but he's really been a guy who's able to not just score, but he's another one of these guys on the Hurricanes who passes a lot better than you would think they are. And Johnson was able to come in, and he didn't have as huge as point total in Game 1, and he only had 15 points, but he was still able to get 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and then in Game 2 he had 17 points, he was able to get 7 assists, so he's a guy that can do a little bit of everything for this Halifax Hurricanes team.
Ryan Anderson with the offensive rebound. It doesn't drop. Bowdry gets the 2 to go there, so make it 18-14. Akeem Scott lugs it across for London. We've got a minute and a half left in the first quarter. Scott. Ryan Anderson for 3 on this near side. He gets it to drop. Number 44 and White makes it happen. Makes it 18-17. Hurricanes still with the lead. Klingscales with it. Out to Bowdry. Up top. This is Billy White up against Ryan Anderson. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Justin Johnson for 3, misses it. Great rebound by Glover, great awareness. Oh, gorgeous finish as well. Great stuff by the Halifax Hurricanes.
Well, Glover and White on that play just did not give it up and did an excellent job there, getting themselves some points on the board to give the Hurricanes a nice 3-point lead here.
Williamson is fouled on the pass. 44 seconds left. And looks like Ryan Anderson is preparing to come out of the game, and Nick Okori will make his first appearance in Game 3. And so once again, Garrett Williamson goes to the line. Yet another time, as we mentioned, leading the team with 7 points, but with him, when it comes to points, you always got to look towards the free throw line. 3 for 4. They've got 4 for 5 from the line so far tonight. 2 for 2 from the field. Get that one to drop, but he gets the rebound. Williamson quickly loses it.
just couldn't corral it there. Mike Glover got in his way.
And it's collected by the Hurricanes. This is Billy White. Clinkscales on the near side. Glover in the post. Triple team. Doesn't even matter. Mike Glover makes it 22-18.
Well, he had 6 arms in his way, and he was still able to truck right through. A great job by Mike Glover.
As you see him clapping, he is pumped. The sound of his hands coming together, echoing through Budweiser Gardens. It's a little quiet right now as the first quarter comes to a close. 5 seconds now. London trying to make this the last play of the frame. Stephen Maxwell down low, slam! What a fantastic way to end the first quarter of Game 3 of the 2016 NBLC Finals. The Hurricanes up by 2, 22-20 over the hometown London Lightning. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here at Budweiser Gardens. Hello and welcome back to Budweiser Gardens. Second quarter of Game 3 just about to get underway. As always, if you're looking to sponsor Knockstrom TV moving into the 2016-17 NBL season, feel free to get in touch. Information will be on screen all night in terms of how to get in touch. Garrett Williamson getting set on the inbound along this near side. 22-20. As we mentioned, Halifax with the lead. Big surge in the second half of that first quarter. London off to a fantastic start there. They were 11-1. Akeem Wright open for 3. Really not his shot. Hugo Lopez still upset that London got that space along that far side right in front of their bench.
Hugo Lopez not happy at all. You could see him shrugging his arms, wondering what happened to his team's defense. Now Hugo Lopez arguing for a call, and he might have been right that time.
Brandon Bowdry was right underneath the hoop there in that play. Bounce pass. Akeem Wright finds Stephen Maxwell. Can't get his third slam of the night. Will be a foul. It will go against Joel Friesen. 11:20 left in this first half.
And I like what London's got on the court right now. They're going with really their 5 most gifted offensive players. And guys like Williamson and Maxwell able to play some solid defense too. And right now it's just about keeping the Hurricanes slowed down, making sure that they get these free throws. And I kind of like the idea. I've often said it on various Lightning broadcasts throughout the year of aggressively attacking the basket and getting the big men on these teams into some foul trouble. Especially a guy like Mike Glover. We've seen him doing a lot of damage. If you can get him into some foul trouble by charging down the lane and seeing if you can get Glover to draw a foul, that seems like a very good strategy to me.
Well, even how London has been around the hoop tonight, they have managed to get a lot of open shots at the basket. They've managed to get Halifax behind them, which, I mean, has been rare this series. You see a gorgeous three there. Justin Johnson with his first points of the game. Going back to that, if you're able to make Halifax take those fouls as being a good foul to take, those are going to rack up. Especially if you're able to get inside on Mike Glover, he's going to have to take another one, then up all of a sudden he's at 3.
Exactly, and that's where London really had success against the Express, was doing that and getting guys like Chris Commons and Kirk Williams Jr. into foul trouble.
Looks like it's going to be Halifax ball after that skirmish underneath the hoop. Again, 25-22, Halifax with the lead. We'll have Aaron Sanders on at halftime. Of course, the Windsor Express halftime talent making the trip up the 401. Shout out to the Windsor Express, rather, in that last series. Fantastic series between these two teams. Really the only real close series that we've seen in these NBLC finals. Of course, Halifax sweeping their way. St. John going 3-1 against Moncton, and of course Windsor sweeping Niagara. It's been a lot of one-sided series, but that one you really didn't know, especially when Windsor won that game here in London. Rare loss for the Lightning at home. Stephen Maxwell can't get that one to drop, but it's tipped. Garrett Williamson puts his finger up and says that one was mine.
Garrett Williamson still being effective here for the London Lightning, one of their best offensive and defensive players, one of the better two-way guys in the league.
White tries to step in, and that is traveling. Call on the near side ref. Applaud from the Budweiser Gardens crowd, and London ball.
Well, he stepped in and then stepped a couple more times on that play. Billy White trying to make something happen, but unfortunately not going to work for him there.
Team Scott with it. Just a lone point to his name. Nikakori yet to get on the board. Scott dribbles, loses it. Great defense there by Bowdry, and now the Halifax Hurricanes are on a fast break. Friesen loses it. It will follow to play off of a Corey, and the jeers come down here at Bud Gardens.
Didn't get a great look at it, but I think the ref might have made the right call there. O'Corey just kind of knocked it out from behind on Friesen.
Inbound coming along the baseline looks like Friesen's going to be the man who will inbound. Julius making his call there on the far side. This is Johnson. Now to Friesen. Hakeem Scott just a little inside. It looked like Friesen almost stepped into Scott on his move around, and all of a sudden Scott found himself right up against Friesen's midsection.
Well, I think Scott actually made a clean steal there, and Friesen slipped and kind of fell into him, but that's a call that could go either way, really.
9:10 on the clock in the second. Johnson, he's quite collect the ball there. He's asking for a switch. Looks like Bowdry's coming near, and Friesen is shifted off to this near side. He's got the ball now. Go Friesen. Johnson. Glover's in the post.
Bowdry's wide open.
Bounce pass. Billy White. Oh! Emphatic slam by number 32 in black.
Yeah, London on this near side here had a real breakdown defensively. It left Bowdry and White there completely wide open just on this three-point line here. And that can't happen because as soon as the pass went to that side, there was one guy guarding two players.
Hakeem Wright backs in, and Bowdry getting his hand on the ball at that last second, but that's going to be a foul, and a good foul if you're the Halifax Hurricanes. Their bench applauding it. Quick change coming up here for the Hurricanes. Kyle Hunt coming into the game. Mike Glover making way. 8:38 on the clock in the second. Again, Hakeem Wright going back up to line, the Kansas grad. I mentioned it there before. 25 points in Game 1 in London's win. Has had a fantastic postseason. Of course, he's played for a number of teams in the NBL, but his experience is really shining through. That second shot, unfortunate not to drop. 29-24, Hurricanes with the lead and the ball. Justin Johnson, Boundary. Oh, takes it. Oh my goodness, what a fit. Fantastic play by Boundary, but you're right, Chris. It looked like Garrett Williamson slipped, but he's running back. He looks okay now. It definitely did not look good when he went to ground. Hakeem Wright tries to step around Billy White, drains it.
Hugo Lopez again wondering where the travel calls are. Just going back to Williamson there, though, when he fell, it looked like it might have been his right leg, and of course he's had issues with that leg all season. And if I'm Halifax, I'm recognizing that. I'm trying to get whoever Williamson's covering the ball.
Friesen for three, hits the back end of the rim, and it comes out. Garrett Williamson steps, foul, and ooh. Joel Friesen's calf ended up on Garrett Williamson's forehead. Looks like no injury there, but very lucky if you're Joel Friesen in particular. A couple of changes coming up here for London. Ryan Anderson coming into the game, Nick Okori making way, and it would appear that Warren Ward will come into the game once Garrett Williamson is finished with his shots from the line here.
Seems like London's recognizing that they're down now, so they're just trying to put as much firepower into the game as they can. So having Ward and Anderson out there, those are their two best three-point shooters, so London making no secrets about what they plan to do as soon as this lineup change comes through.
Nice and quiet here for Garrett Williamson at Bud Gardens. Misses it again. Disappointment on his face. I mean, it's always disappointing when you don't go 100% from the line, but even going now, he's gone 4 for 7. That's considering how many times he goes to the line, it's not characteristic of him. Justin Johnson with the step and the shot, misses. Now Hakeem Scott on the run. Dribbles. Takes it out. Here's Ryan Anderson for three over top of Gibson. Misses. Scott. And to Hakeem Wright. He's going to take the deep three. Gets it to go!
Well, he shot that one from Arva. Hakeem Wright with the excellent three-pointer there from very long range. Gets this Lightning crowd on their feet a bit and brings the lead to only 2.
Johnson with it. London eager for a stop. Gibson for three. Finds a bit of space, misses it. Maxwell collects, and London have a chance to tie the game or even take the lead here in this possession. Hakeem Wright open for three. Last second switch. Didn't look natural. Scott steps. Traveling.
I don't know how he can travel. He just got the ball.
London fans not happy about that call. You guys can go back and watch it on replay. We don't have the ability here in this moment, but regardless, play continues. Kevin Loisel preparing to come into the game, and Billy White is coming out, and you can hear the boos continue. Likely for Kevin Loisel, the former London Lightning player, of course, left the team, moved to the Dominican Republic to play. London traded his rights to Halifax, and here he is. For three, it's short. You can see Gibson not happy with the shot as he released it. Wright with possession. Steps around, pushes Loisel, manages to find Maxwell. There to fall out. 13 seconds on the shot clock, 6:16 left in this second quarter.
Yeah, it's interesting. Loisel comes into this game. He's actually the first player since 2011-2012 2012-2013 to have played for both teams that are in the finals. Of course, the first one to do it was Nick Evans, who has some connections here in London too.
Fantastic bit of trivia. Of course, Loisel is the only player on the Hurricanes to win an NBLC title. He misses that defensive rebound, kick ball as Hakeem Scott was reaching to grab the ball. Of course, the only player on the London Lightning side to have won an NBLC championship is number 44 in white. He was on the same team as Loisel. That's Ryan Anderson, Windsor Express. Nice passing. Scott can't collect the bounce pass from Stephen Maxwell, and now here come the Halifax Hurricanes. Big steps from Justin Johnson. It's tipped. Great finish there by Kyle Hunt. 33-29, 5:49 on the clock. Scott rolls across half, finds Anderson, who finds Warren Ward. Steps around. Oh, great finish there by the Londoner.
Very smooth little finger roll there from Warren Ward. He had a play like that last game too. Just a very beautiful cut to the basket.
33-31. 3 fouls for the Hurricanes, 2 for the London Lightning. Johnson lugging the ball now here for the Hurricanes. Gibson steps around, finds Loisel, a bit of space on the far side, stutters, backs in. The Canadian can't find Kyle Hunt as the ball falls out of play, and that will be a media timeout. We're going to take a quick break here at Budweiser Gardens. We will be right back.
Hey guys, I see your comments, and I'd like to clarify my nice little trivia stat there that I thought was nice, but got got messed up in the delivery. Loisel is the first player since Nick Evans who played for both finals teams in the same year. Nick Evans did it in 2012-2013 when he played 10 games with the Windsor Express and in 8 games with the Island Storm. I might have got that backwards. But Loisel's the first one since Nick Evans did it then to do it in NBL Canada.
Proper journalist. Clarifying, always attributing. Hakeem Scott misses that one, collected there by Kyle Hunt. 33-31. Johnson with the ball here for the Hurricanes. They've got a 2-point lead. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher up in the booth. Lots of motion. And Justin Johnson's going to take the 3. He's short, collected by Scott. Hakeem Wright is wide open. He's going to take it right to the hoop. Tie game. 4:26 on the clock in the second quarter and first half. As always, we'll have Aaron Sanders on at halftime. Talk about this game so far. Johnson for 3. Another missed 3 there. Both teams, it's been a bit of a clunk fest from beyond the arc for both these clubs so far. That one was missed by Gibson. Hunt loses the ball. Now Hakeem Scott fires at Stephen Maxwell. Steps, runs into Johnson. That's going to be a foul.
I like that by Justin Johnson, though. Obviously was at a size mismatch with Stephen Maxwell, but he hangs in there tough and is able to get Maxwell only to the free throw line instead of just getting 2 points right like that. And Maxwell, he's shot 80% this year from the free throw line, but in his career before this year, he only shot around 68% from the free throw line. So he's not a bad guy to foul, even though he's made it count this year. You don't necessarily know how long that's going to keep going.
It's Maxwell in his first pro year as well. See Hugo Lopez along the baseline, having a few choice words for likely the ref and his own players. A very eccentric coach. Same goes for Kyle Julius, both very active along the baselines.
Hard to miss them.
No doubt. Cliff Klingscales. 3:47. Still got it at the top. Waits for some movement down low, hands it off to Friesen. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Friesen's got to let it go. He finds it. Great play there by number 5 in black.
Excellent cut to the rim there from Friesen, who is, of course, huge in Game 2. And, my goodness, Hugo Lopez has made the traveling call more than most refs all year have. Just seeing him on the bench there.
Klingscales takes it up. Ball will fall out of play off of Akeem Wright, so inbound coming, 15 seconds on the shot clock for the Hurricanes. Looks like Klingscales is going to take it. My apologies, that's Shane Gibson lining up. The Connecticut native. Klingscales waits for Gibson, who's in motion, quickly double teamed. Loisel can't find Hunt. Ward with it, and he'll hand it off to Ryan Anderson. They'll try to slow things down. A little tentative on the offensive side here. London has been, especially the last couple minutes. We got 3 minutes to go in the first half. Ed Horton. Oh, finds Stephen Maxwell. Slam! Oh! Poster! Poster! Poster!
Wow, Stephen Maxwell with one of the biggest posters of the year. We've seen him jump over a man, and that time he just stuffed a basketball right over the head of the Halifax Hurricanes there. Wow.
Bounce pass. It's collected here by Akeem Wright. That has breathed quite a bit of life into this Budweiser Gardens crowd. Ward steps around, and that's going to be an offensive foul.
Yep, that's going to be Kevin Loisel there who drew that charge. Good play. You think there has to be some familiarity there. Of course, Loisel, member of the London Lightning at the start of the year, he went to battle against Warren Ward in practice every day. He probably knew exactly where Ward was looking on that play.
London take the lead, 36-35 off of a fantastic dunk from Stephen Maxwell. You mentioned, Chris, in the last series against Windsor when Stephen Maxwell literally jumped Sharon Collins. You can look up that clip. As I've told people, a lot of people have seen the clip, especially in London. I've told them when that happened, I remember I didn't even have words. It was almost, when you see it live, you almost don't believe it happened.
I think what was most impressive is, like, we've all seen the clip of Vince Carter jumping over a guy, and that was a 7-footer. There's the time LeBron jumped over John Lucas in the NBA. We've seen guys jump over other players before, but I think what impressed me most with Maxwell's is when we saw James and Carter do it, there was like a run up to it. You could see it coming. With Maxwell, he wasn't even at full speed. He just sort of high jumped them. Yeah. And I think that's what made that one so impressive. And that speaks to the athleticism that Maxwell has. He's one of the greatest athletes from pure athletic ability standpoint to ever suit up for the London Lightning. And, well, that dunk there just kind of says it all.
When he jumped, Sharon Collins just took a couple steps, and as you said, more of a long jump. That's a fantastic way of putting it. Hop, skip, and a jump, and he's over a guy who's listed 6'1". 36-35, low scoring, intense, kind of ugly.
I think it's been just both teams playing good defense, and I mean, if you're a fan of the 130 to 131 point games, then it's probably been a really, really ugly one for you. But I like to see some defense. I like to see some toughness. And this has been a pretty good game to watch.
Loisel with possession. Maxwell on his face, fresh after being on the wrong end of a poster. Foul call there. It looks like it's going to go against Akeem Wright. Right now up to 2 fouls.
Pretty clean game, though. Only 11-8 in the foul department. That's 11 for Halifax.
Friesen steps along the baseline, does a great finish there off of the backboard. The Hurricanes now have the lead by 1 point. We've got 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Ryan Anderson steps around. Great shift there to Akeem Wright for 3. He's going to miss that one. Airballs it. Halifax ball. Klingscales along the near side. He's got some speed to maybe find the hoop. He's going to take a 3. Misses. Glover tries to draw the foul, and nothing doing from the referees.
I think Wright might have got a bit of a hand on that 3 there.
Minute 30. Warren Ward off to Ed Horton. At the very top. Bounce pass. Maxwell. Great finish.
Stephen Maxwell's energized from that dunk. And when he's going, the London Lightning are going to be a much stronger team. Maxwell, again, one of the best players of the year, was given Rookie of the Year, and of course was a contender for MVP.
Maxwell up to 11 points in the night. Kevin Loisel takes it over top. Defensive foul. Kevin Loisel does damage to his former team.
Well, the hardest call in basketball is the difference between a charge and a block, and the London Lightning not really happy with that one, but Loisel gonna draw the foul and go to the line here.
Minute to go in the first half, and the Halifax Hurricanes are making some changes. Bowdry coming into the game, who's actually leading the Hurricanes with 8 points on the night. He comes in. Looks like Friesen will come out. Mike Glover coming out. Kyle Hunt coming in. Kevin Loisel with the London Lightning flag right behind the net. Misses it. Tipped. Maxwell keeps it in for the London Lightning. Bounce pass. Akeem Wright. Steps. Now back to Horton. 5 fouls for Lightning, 4 for the Hurricanes. Wright steps around. Foul as Kevin Loisel goes to ground. It's going to go against Loisel.
Maybe a bit of a makeup call for the blocking foul call to the other end.
Regardless, Akeem Wright goes to the line. 5 fouls each at this point. 49 seconds to go in the second quarter. Akeem Wright misses that one. It's also been a difficult night from the line for London. Now shooting 8 for 19.
Yeah, they're shooting like there's a flag behind their hoop, too.
Maybe just move the flag. Maybe that's a move you can do moving forward. Wright goes 0 for 2 from the line, leaves points on the floor. Can Halifax add to their 1-point lead? Clinkscales takes it up. Hunt can't collect. That's another time they've tried to do that alley-oop play to Hunt. He's been contested well, and that's going to go out off of London. Halifax gets set on the inbound in front of the London Lightning bench. Big defensive play there by Hunt to force that. Clinkscales getting set. Hunt calling for it in the post up against Wright. They're going to be a little smart with it and hand it off to Clinkscales up top eventually through Bowden. Clinkscales still with it, finds Hunt, and there's the alley-oop play. He'll drain it. Makes it 41-38.
Beautiful play there, and Cliff Clinkscales with another assist to his name. He's one of the best assist men in NBL Canada.
Shot clock has expired. 41-38. London down. They're going to make this the last play of the first half. Horton steps around. 3 seconds, gets the shot off, misses, and that will do it for the first half of play in Game 3 of this NBL final. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher up in the booth. Chris, your thoughts on that first half?
Well, I thought that was a great job there by the Halifax Hurricanes to keep that game tight. And the London Lightning, of course, didn't really let up either. I think London's going to kind of not be happy with that, the end of that second quarter there. They really had a chance to kind of stomp it out, and they didn't. So now they're going to go into the half down, and I think Halifax is a team that knows how to close out, and that's going to be dangerous for the Lightning. They're going to need a big third quarter.
We'll be right back with the halftime show here in Saunders. Again, we'll be right back here at Budweiser Gardens.
All the extras at Voyage and Sun Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning.
3-point lead for the Hurricanes right now, 41-38. It's time for another installment of the Knockstrom Halftime right here in game number 3 of this best of 7 NBLC Final Series. I'm Aaron Sanders. Jeremy James isn't here with us. He'll be back for game 4 Wednesday. But right here, a name that you know so far, play-by-play Marty Thompson. And if I said this was a physical contest, that would be an understatement. Wouldn't that be correct?
100%. We've seen a bunch of stuff from both sides. I want to get your take on it, though.
Well, we got to go all the way back to the first quarter. That where one time the Lightning were leading 13-4, all thanks to Halifax struggling. They were struggling inside. They couldn't get anything to go. They switched up their game. That brought them up a little bit better. They started shooting mid-range and outside, which really connected for them. You know, they came back inside too, and all thanks to Glover, who scored 7 points, Mike Glover. But for London, they knew Halifax was coming out physical, so they played deep defense inside to start it all off, making them struggle inside. But Stephen Maxwell, highlight of the moment, a top tenor moment with that breakaway windmill slam. If that doesn't go in the top tenor, I don't know what will. And like I said, they were near at the 7-minute mark, up 13-4, but they also fell short shooting inside too. They tried too much in terms of the backdoor, cutting inside, passing inside, but Halifax defense was there, as they're known for deep defense as well. But Garrett Williamson ended up with 8 points near the end of the first quarter. That's my predictions for that.
For sure. I mean, and you look at a guy like Mike Glover, we talked a bit about it before, but just such a physical presence, they had a lot of trouble handling him.
Absolutely. Then we switched things over to the second half where things got a little bit different. And Halifax, we've seen them go back to their physical game they're known for. That's why they're cream of the crop, the Atlantic Division. Brandon Bowery, absolutely one of the players destroying the hoop, cutting inside. London didn't know what to do inside. Like a big contrast from the first quarter. They were cutting inside deep. They were playing deep D. But London gave up a little bit of buckets right there. Garrett Williamson, he continued to penetrate Halifax's defense, getting close baskets. But the defense, like I said, has faltered. The team's defense has faltered.
Well, we'll stick with the Halifax Hurricanes. There are a couple players. I mean, you've got Shane Gibson out there. He's been doing a really good job freeing up the space. Anybody that sticks out to you so far?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, Mike Glover from Halifax. Yeah. For the London Lightning, 2 players, of course. Garrett Williamson, he's lightning quick, no pun intended, Marty. And, of course, Stephen Maxwell, lightning quick. And I mentioned this a few games ago. Who needs long jump at the Rio Olympics when you got that diaper dandy vertical guy known as Stephen Maxwell driving inside?
Were you listening to our broadcast? Because we legit compared him to the long jump. In those long strides, no one can handle that.
Well, it's an interesting segue, and when you have verticals like that, especially for a guy in his position, you could actually penetrate the defense. You could actually make decisions. You'll actually beat people off the dribble while you're at it too, cutting inside as well as mid-range and outside. It all depends how much you have in your caliber and your arsenal to use it, and Stephen Maxwell is really using everything he can to destroy Halifax defense. Garrett Williamson too, so small ball has been picking up, has been destroying Halifax, but somehow Halifax got the lead with their big physical depth inside.
Well, you can see the score behind us here. It's been low scoring. Second half, what do you have for predictions? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I believe it's Halifax. They have to go back to their own roots. They really have to go back to their physical game. And they could beat London off their passing too, because as you can see in the last 2 quarters, London has been passing too much inside, which led to those turnovers. So for Halifax to beat London in their own game, beat them off passing and start communicating on the mid-range D, that way they could set up for great blocks inside and good set up for good traps. London, however, they have to stay simple inside. I mentioned over and over again, backdoors ain't cutting it for them. Sometimes the mid-range help them out, and there are some times where they went to the charity stripe and converted on those points. They have to trap inside the hole, and they have to pressure. That's on the other side. So if they pressure on defense, trap inside, don't be intimidated despite their depth, because what they lack in depth is what they gain vertically and with speed. Beat them off and on the dribble. I say off the dribble because that's one way you'll throw Halifax off, especially with big guys like Mike Glover, because they don't expect that. They expect them to go lightning quick, go inside the hole. That's where Mike will go inside. That's where London dumps the ball out. But if you beat them on the dribble too, keep the spin moves and keep all that to a minimum.
Now that the Windsor Express are out, I can ask you about a prediction, and I can expect an honest answer. Although, The London Lightning and Windsor Express rivalry. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen in Game 3, and what's your outlook for the series as well?
Game 3, I have a feeling this might go to an overtime, not because of the low scoring, but the physicality, the physical game we have seen so far from both clubs already. If you're physical inside on the defense, which incidentally where most of the scoring is from, you can expect a very close game. This ain't ending in the full 48. It's going to end in more than 53 minutes. So big overtime. It's going to go to either team. I see London pulling it off because Def can't do everything. Transition game, you have to be there for that. Lightning quick action and everything, so London will take Game 3.
And for the series?
And for the series, if London takes Game 3, then that's going to be a big boost for them. A big boost in their mentality, physically and mentally. So if they take Game 3, they can wrap it all up right here Friday at Bud Gardens.
At this point, I would just flip a coin. These two teams just seem so similar and so close.
Absolutely. And it's funny enough, it was raining before tip-off, so it's safe to say that the Lightning came to town, so did the Hurricanes. Which one of those teams will blow up? I don't know, but you know what? When you see the Hurricanes with all the wind gusts and everything, Lightning sure to come down because, let's see, Thunder comes after Lightning. Lightning, if they strike, they'll dominate.
We don't get a whole lot of Hurricanes in London, but we'll see. We'll see.
It is what it is.
Aaron, thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the second half here in Game 3 of the 2016 NBLC Finals. Hello and welcome back to Budweiser Gardens for Game 3 of the 2016 NBLC Finals between the Halifax Hurricanes and the London Lightning. The Hurricanes with a 41-38 lead through the first two quarters. The third quarter about to come up here once again at Budweiser Gardens. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher and Audley Stevenson also up in the booth here, the league's media guy. Audley, we'll get your thoughts on the first half.
Yeah, I mean, listening on or what?
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. You know what? I saw my good buddy Morris Delacosta refer to the first half as ugly. And I think I can kind of echo that a little bit in terms of the scrappiness on both sides. A lot of missed free throws for London, 8 for 20, and considering a 3-point game, that's pretty big. Conversely, I didn't see a whole lot of free throw attempts from Halifax. Yeah. And I'm sure the coaching staff will probably circle that and say, hey, what's going on? But you know what? It's a scrappy game, and considering that, we're at game number 3, these squads know each other very well. I think it's not overly surprising that you've seen a style of play at this point.
I'm glad you mentioned the free throws, actually, because, as you said, it seems like Halifax hasn't taken a ton. London's taken 20, Halifax only 7.
Yeah.
And, in fact, London could be ahead by a pretty good margin if they make their free throws. One guy who struggled, Garrett Williamson, 4 of 8 from the free throw line. Right. We saw in halftime. He was still out on the court, taking some free throws there. While the kids were chasing their shoes, as was the halftime entertainment, and they were able to hopefully get Garrett Williamson making some shots here as the third quarter starts.
Well, and that's a tough part with free throws, because you don't coach that. As Kyle Julius, the head coach, what do you say to a guy to make him shoot free throws better?
100%. Yeah, totally. And I mean, you look at the stats through that first half. Both teams shooting around 42%.
Yep.
That, considering how low of scoring of a game is, that's kind of impressive. But the 3-point shooting is so it's 15% for London, 11 for Halifax.
And if I can throw another point on here, I feel the crowd is looking for a reason to really get into this game and explode. And usually when you see a Stephen Maxwell dunk, that's all you need. And he's had a couple, and it's got some excitement, but it hasn't carried over yet. And I kind of get the feeling the crowd really wants to explode. And I think that's where the London Lightning have to give them a reason to.
Yeah, and one of the things that Halifax has done well is really choking out the momentum when London had that play. Is whenever London's made a big play that gets the crowd on their feet, Hugo Lopez has really slowed the team down, thrown it inside, and really just brought everything to a crawl. So that's part of why Halifax has this lead here.
They're really cheering for Kevin Loisel. maybe against Kevin Loisel.
Yeah, it depends who you are, I guess.
41-38. Halifax in black, London in white. Marty Thompson, Chris Croucher, and Audley Stevenson up in the booth here for this third quarter. Klingscales moves it across half here for the Hurricanes. Again, they've got the lead. Friesen off to Klingscales. Mike Glover moving it around near the Who. Managed to find Billy White. Back to Klingscales, 5 seconds on the shot clock. He backs in, now off to Joel Friesen for 3.
Wow.
Gets that one to drop.
Well, I mean, if he's carrying that over from game 2, that kind of shooting, that's big.
Halifax now 3 for 18 from beyond the arc so far in this game. London 2 for 13. Stephen Maxwell with possession, finds Wright down low. They'll take it back to Maxwell. Stripped to the ball, but the refs are going to blow that one down.
And I like that they're going to Stephen Maxwell and getting him involved. He had a really big second quarter there. Didn't do much in the first, but he's got 11 points in this game, most of that coming in the second quarter. And again, we've mentioned the size difference between the two teams.
Absolutely.
Stephen Maxwell, pretty much the closest thing to a big man London has.
I mean, the job that him and Akeem Wright have to do every possession is phenomenal.
Warren Ward, the Londoner, on the near side. Good for 3, makes it 44-41.
Bang, connects. Shout out to my buddy Vince Williams. He liked that one.
Vince called a fantastic game out there. Shout out to Vince for sure.
He's a master of the Mike Breen bang after a big three-pointer.
That's it.
Mike Glover backs in on Akeem Wright. Uses that shoulder to give him a little bit extra space. It's no good. Collected by Akeem Wright now here for London. Hands it off. Garrett Williamson finds a lane. That's finished there by Akeem Scott. He's pumped up.
You gotta love the little pit bull mentality, getting in there and cleaning up the offensive boards.
Klingscales with possession up top. Has to find a bit of space. The key's wide open. Glover. Oh, gorgeous play by number 1.
Mike Glover, the beast.
Well, he just threw Williamson down to the side there. That was just a strong move from the Halifax big man.
Scott Hands it off to Warren Ward for three. He goes to ground, so he's going to the line.
Yeah, wow. Making something out of nothing there.
And that might be a bit of a problem for Halifax. That's 2 quick fouls on Friesen there. And really, Friesen's been their go-to guy the past 2 games.
Friesen's now up to 4 fouls, and
Wow.
that will mean he's heading out, and it looks like Boudry will be coming in to replace him.
And they got really great play out of Bouch. He's an energy guy, right? And he sparks their offense and defense. So maybe not a totally bad substitution.
Leading the Halifax Hurricanes with 8 points.
Right.
Which is impressive in his limited minutes, for sure.
Right.
Well, and the one thing, we talked about London's depth all year, but when you look at Halifax, you could argue that they've got an even deeper squad. You see that one drained there by Warren Ward.
They're hitting free throws, guys.
Puts his hand up to an ear, maybe looking at Gibson there, maybe to the crowd, not quite sure. Warren Ward gets the third one as well.
I saw the Hulkamania, hand to the ear thing. I saw that.
Gotta give a shout out to the Halifax fan here who brought his horn apparently. He's done a couple of those, and maybe he's a part of why the Lightning can't make their free throws. Warren Ward able to make those ones, though.
Gibson with possession up top. 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. Bounce pass to Glover in the post. Tries to swing it around Akeem Wright.
Wow.
Oh, great defense, but a great finish there by Mike Glover.
I mean, the patience down low, and he didn't rush a shot, and I thought that was beautiful.
Akeem Scott moving it across half. 9:40 on the clock in the third. This is Warren Ward on the near side. Maxwell's in front. Right with it. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Scott now back to Maxwell. Got to look for that play. Scott, he's going to do it. He's going to lose the ball. Great stop there by the Hurricanes.
And that's something we've seen Scott do a lot in these playoffs, is just kind of charge to the rim. Hasn't worked out for him very much in this game, though.
It's 50-50. I mean, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
Klingscales with possession here for the Hurricanes. Again, they've got a 2-point lead. Takes it up, and not quite sure who that was to. Billy White chased after the ball as it fell out of play.
I think he intended for his Billy White to cut to the basket. Didn't happen. Shane Gibson's a guy that's been really quiet for Halifax, and he's a big gun for him.
Well, he's one of the guys we talked about in the pregame as being him and Justin Johnson, really the two gunners on this team. Haven't really been able to make their shots.
Warren Ward misses that three. But even Gibson is quick, right? And he makes a lot of space for his teammates. We saw that very early on in the first quarter. White dribbles up against Wright. Gets that shot off. It just hits this near side of the rim.
Great defense by Akeem.
And here he is, Akeem Wright. Takes a step, moves around, loses the ball, but he's fouled.
And there's another foul against the Halifax Hurricanes. And London really not shy about going to the rim. Part of the reason they've had that differential in foul shots has been that ability to make those cuts and really get Halifax in some trouble. We saw them do it against Windsor, and I think that's what they're coming out in this quarter trying to do here.
There's no doubt in my mind that Kyle Julius at halftime said, keep doing what you're doing. One of the things he undoubtedly probably circles is the fact that he missed so many free throws and only down by 3 points. So continue what you were doing. Ouch.
Akeem Wright misses that
first one. Did I do that one? My bad.
Yeah, you did, 100%.
Ouch.
Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
We won't tell nobody.
8:35 on the clock. Also keep in mind the Hurricanes have 3 fouls in this quarter. London have 0. Budweiser Gardens getting a little busy here.
Like I said, they want a reason to blow up this crowd. You can feel it.
Klingscales off to Boudry. Ward matching up on defense against him. Here's Shane Gibson. We mentioned him earlier. Not the best game so far. Ward backs in the post. Stephen Maxwell up against him. Just so easy for Mike Glover.
He's just, he's got a wide load and he uses it freely down there and creates so much space.
I mean, if you just look at his shoulders, how he uses those in the post is incredible. Akeem Scott for 3. Far side, it's good. 50 all.
Well, there's the crowd that Audley was talking about. They started to get into it there.
They want it.
One more big play, and I think the roof blows off this thing.
Gibson keeps possession. Gorgeous finish. Here's Glover. The ball falls out of play. What a fantastic dish.
You almost wanted him to score with a nice pass like that.
Inbound coming from Klingscales. Gibson, quick shot on the far side, drains. Just that easy for Shane Gibson.
I mean, off curls, he's dangerous.
Ward moves it across half. 7:30 on the clock. Couple easy steps as you see him making a bit of space. Oh, jumper misses. Taken by Maxwell. Bounce pass. Garrett Williamson.
And really, it's been the Williamson-Maxwell connection doing a lot of damage here for the London Lightning. That play, just another example of how Maxwell's able to play down low, even though he's got that size disadvantage. And that time, just some beautiful, sweet music from the London Lightning offense.
Let's also remember,
Scott can't quite keep the ball in, but it's collected. I believe that's
Scott's
Gibson.
out of bound, yeah. Hakeem's out of bound. He's got his hands on the ball, and he's dangling out of bounds there. Oops.
And it's going to be London ball, judging by the crowd reaction. A couple of changes coming up here. Eric Kibbe coming into the game. Stephen Maxwell making way.
Yep.
And I think this move is because they tried having Capers and Wright covering Glover themselves, and they didn't really show the strength to be able to do it. So we saw Maxwell come in, but you can't keep playing Maxwell for the entire game. So that's why they've got Kibbe, a bit of a stronger base on him to be able to stand up to the brute force of Mike Glover.
Game 2, they had a battle, Kibbe and Glover, and I expect that to continue, no doubt.
Justin Johnson is coming to the game, and Shane Gibson has made way. Inbound coming on the near side, 7 minutes on the clock. White steps around right, will draw the foul, so he's going to go to the line. Again, 6:58 on the clock. This game's tied.
And this is what Halifax needed. I mean, they haven't had a whole lot of fouls. They had a whole lot of activity going to the basket. And maybe this gets the momentum going in their favor in that regard.
White getting set on the inbound. Oddly, if you're Hugo Lopez, I mean, obviously you alluded to a bit of what you thought was his halftime talk. What kind of adjustments do you make in this third quarter? Because, Halifax has been the better team so far, but London's really has had a really good third quarter.
From Hugo Lopez's perspective, he's probably going to look at the foul situation and probably talk about the refs that are against him, and talk about where they haven't been getting the calls, and talk about the need to try and play solid defense. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're getting those calls against you. If I were a betting man, that's probably something like that he's saying.
Kibbe steps around up against Mike Glover. Can't get that one to drop. It's collected by Wright. Fresh shot clock here for the Bolts. This is Garrett Williamson, swatted there by Billy White. Kibbe gets his own rebound, finishes it.
Stay with it. Let's stand with it.
And that's the thing with Eric Kibbe. Eric Kibbe's not the most offensive guy, but he has nothing but hustle in his veins.
Hard worker.
And he's able to go up there when no one else could stop him and get those 2 points for the London Lightning.
And you look, I mean, really he's undersized from the height perspective, but that strong, wide base that you talked about, Marty, he uses it well.
Well, even in your pregame and your recap of last game 2, you mentioned the fact that the London Lightning have that bulldog mentality where it doesn't really matter that they're undersized because they're just so relentless.
You actually pay attention to my stuff, man? That's awesome.
Boundary for 3. Great stuff there by number 2 in black.
I got 3 fans now. That's awesome.
Makes it 57-54.
Sorry, Marty. We cut in your Bang Connects.
Sorry, yeah.
Vince Williams always gives it to me because I interrupt his Bang Connects. He's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to shut up while I bang my connects. All right, cool.
That's one way of saying that. Yeah. Bang connects. 5 fouls for the Hurricanes, 1 for the London Lightning. Inbound coming on this baseline here. Scott, lots of motion. Williamson somehow manages it back to Team Scott. He gets the foul.
Beautiful
Fantastic interior passing.
Great pass there from Williamson. I'm not sure how he even saw Scott. He had his back to him, but he was able to make a beautiful feed around the Halifax defender. I believe that was Glover, and Scott knows what to do around the rim.
My guess Scott was yelling at him, give me the ball!
Yeah. Garrett.
Yeah, exactly.
Keem Scott at the line.
Ooh.
Can't quite tie this game up. Been the story of the game for London, just
again,
able to finish at the line.
Looks like there's a little battle there between Glover and Kibbe.
They're drawn.
It's been a physical series too.
Oh man!
I mean, considering if you're from London's point of view,
sure.
Right, and knowing what Halifax is about to do to you because they have the size,
sure,
you're going to be defensive, right? You're going to have your tail out. Clint Gales with possession on the near side.
And again, there it is.
Another one. Glover versus Kibbe.
And and to your point, Marty, because London is undersized, they are going to fight harder, and that again that pit bull aggressive mentality, and that style of play is prone to inviting that side of that battling, if you will.
Well, it's a similar mentality that we saw when Michael Ray Richardson was, of course, the coach here, and that's another case where they got into some physical altercations on the court, just some physical play down low.
Sure.
Glover and Kibbe again going at it.
Great play there by Clinkscales. Can't finish in the key. 5:46 on the clock in the third.
Well, there's a switch there, and Billy White and Akeem Scott were battling down though, and Scott held his ground.
Here's Warren Ward with it. Kibbe streaking to the hoop. It's going to be off to Garrett Williamson. Finds a lane. Can't finish. Kibbe with a great offensive rebound. Here's Warren Ward for three. Misses. Hits the rim. Halifax ball. Clinkscales with it on the far side. Waits for his teammates to get into position. You see Glover and Kibbe once again. Looks like someone's head was hit there. I'm not quite sure. There's a couple elbows in the mix.
It is. Again, Kibbe's fighting a huge uphill battle, so to speak, against Mr. Glover, and maybe it's a bit too much contact, and the refs are paying attention now. And the reality is, the refs are aware of what's going on. They're seeing it, so every little thing that happens down there, you're going to get blown down on it.
Well, it's similar to the traveling calls that we saw in the game. The refs have really locked into this game, and I think it's an NBL final, so you've got the best ref crews that you can get out there, and they know that if this physical play keeps going unchecked, that it could turn into something more, and you don't want to see that. So they're doing a good job of just calming everything down, blowing it down when they see it, making sure things don't get too out of hand.
Well, just before the game, I had a chat with the refs, and I said, guys, you think it'll be a physical one? And I kind of smirked, so.
Again, Game 3 of this 2016 NBLC Finals. The Hurricanes with a 1-point lead. Marty Thompson, Chris Croucher, and Audley Stevenson up in the booth. This one's going 7 games, right? It's going 7 games.
Yeah, it is. It is, guys. We're back at Halifax for 6 and 7.
Yep. You'll be going out.
Yeah, we'll be heading out there to finish the job. We had great first 2 games this series. Game 1 and 2, and I'm expecting 3, 4, and 5 to be no different. I'm expecting the rest of the series to be no different. It's been a treat to watch. Both teams are giving it their all. Quite frankly, both coaches are giving it their all, and it's been a masterful performance thus far, even in the ugly games.
Well, even Game 2, people are saying that it was a blowout and such, but really that game wasn't a blowout until maybe 3 minutes left. That's when Halifax really started to up the score there.
I would disagree with those blowout comments. No, absolutely not. I mean, we're tied at the half, 66-63.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It didn't get out of hand until maybe 3 minutes left when a couple of Halifax guys got hot.
And really, it's about those fourth quarters. Who's going to finish strong in that fourth quarter? Because I don't think we've had more than a 6-point differential in this game, and that's probably what you're going to expect for a majority of the series. Who's going to finish in the fourth?
Yeah. Game 4 on Wednesday. Game 5 on Friday.
I know where I'll be those nights.
You'll be out in Halifax as well if it goes to Game 7.
I know I'll be in Game 6 and 7 too.
It's been a fantastic series so far. About to get more of it here. 5:19 on the clock in the third. Oh, Halifax catch London sleeping.
I think the music might have rung long there, and I don't think the Lightning players heard the whistle because Halifax caught him napping.
Warren Ward with possession.
I got caught looking at Alejandro's pizza slice.
Here's Ed Horton. Oh, great pass off to Warren Ward on the far side. Misses the 3. It's tipped. Oh, Anderson tiptoes the line. Keeps the ball in. Horton for 3 on the near side. Misses. Tipped around. Foul.
Is that Kibbe's third? That's a...
I believe that's, yes, that'll be his 4th.
Oh, 4th. My bad.
Kibbe up to 4. Glover now with 3. Boundary with 3 as well.
I don't like how many threes London's taken. They just took those 2 there. You don't want to get into a shootout here. If you can keep this game close to 3 points, I think you just got to play safe and worry about it in the fourth quarter.
Kevin Loisel takes it to the hoop. He gets the foul. Very disappointed he didn't drain that one.
Chris, to your point, it kind of feels that London is trying to shoot their way back into it. And really all they need is a couple to go down, and that confidence is back. One to go down, that confidence is back. But when they're not dropping, that's where the real concern is.
Yeah, and you can take as many threes as you want, but ultimately it hasn't been working all game. And I understand that it's their identity. They love shooting threes, so they want to start making them.
Right.
But I don't think you can force the issue, and some of those shots there are a little bit forced.
Of course, if you look towards the London Lightning, now shooting 21%. Same with Halifax. They've been pretty much both been as bad from beyond the arc, essentially, through the first couple quarters. But I mean, you look at guys like Ryan Anderson, especially in that last series. London do have those three-point shooters that can get hot and can absolutely destroy a game.
Well, you see Ryan Anderson, you see Warren Ward, two of the most beautiful shooting strokes you'll see in NBL Canada. And they are able to catch fire. We saw Ryan Anderson in, I believe, Game 2 of that Windsor series just really took it over, had 34 points and just nailed just about everything from behind the three-point line. And, I mean, London can do it, but it doesn't mean you want to bank on it right now when it's only a three-point game.
Halifax taking their time in the huddle, just coming out of it now. 4:37 left in the third, both teams at 6 fouls. Hurricanes up to 59 points, Lightning at 56.
So there's a 3-point differential at the half, and there's still a 3-point differential here late in the third.
Loisel at the line, the boos come down. The flag isn't out. We should keep that in mind.
Looks like they got rid of it.
Would appear so. It's not even in the arena. Oh, wait, here it goes.
Oh, they're walking down with it on this near side.
Security is taking the flag down.
Ryan Anderson moves it across half.
So if he misses, do you need the flag anymore? Like, I'm just curious.
Good question. Anderson, very athletic finish. Won't drop for him, though.
Well, one of the things we talked about with those free throws is you watch college basketball and they've got everything. Big play there with the pass to Bowdry. But in regards to those free throws, we've seen college teams will have just some of the craziest things to distract. I don't think a flag's going to distract these guys anymore.
No.
Kibbe with possession up top.
But all you got to do is miss one free throw to believe that it had a difference.
Ryan with the step. Oh, gets that one to go. Akeem Wright.
And you know what? Akeem Wright really needs to have a good game. Game 2, not good. Game 1, fantastic. But again, look at what he has to do on both ends of the floor. You really feel for the guys sometimes.
Clinkscales back to Justin Johnson. Who's going to take it? It'll be Clinkscales. Glover in motion, moving towards Clinkscales. Now right in front of him. Misses the three. It's taken out. Glover will step out of bounds as he tried to play it in.
And there was a mismatch there that Halifax didn't identify. They had Ed Horton, the mouse, in the house. And all you have to do is give to Loisel and see if you can get something going when it's a power forward against a point guard. Usually you win that matchup.
And it's not the first time that we've seen them miss those mismatch opportunities. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I got it out. Woo!
Ed Horton takes it across half here for London. Ward has it. 3:20 on the clock in the third. This is Maxwell. He'll move down low. Oh, he slips on the ground. He would have been open for that pass.
Ooh.
Halifax ball.
And who knows what happened after that?
At this rate, I think we know what was about to happen.
Was there something on the court? We just saw the ref go and pick something up there.
Set it on the stanchion there. Regardless, ready to wipe that down regardless. Clinkscales has the ball. Johnson with it along the near side. Horton up in his face. Loisel's open at the top of the key. Up against Ryan Anderson, the former teammates. Oh my goodness, Kevin Loisel with a fantastic play. But he's going to go to the line once again.
Some great footwork there from Loisel, able to get Anderson completely out of position and go up for those 2 points.
And you know they've battled in practice a few times as a member of the Windsor Express last season.
And the London Lightning this year too.
Yes, yes. Oh wait guys, the flag is out. All is right with the world again. We got the flag.
Akeem Scott preparing to come into the game. It looks like Ryan Anderson will be making way. Clinkscales has also come out of the game. I believe that Kyle Hunt has come in. Kevin Loisel misses that one.
Blame it on the flag.
Not far removed, Kevin Loisel from the London Lightning gets that one to drop. 63-58. Ed Horton with possession on the near side. Runs into Kyle Hunt. Turns around. Off to Akeem Scott. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Horton runs around. Ooh, loses it. Taken here by the Halifax Hurricanes. They're on the fast break. Here we go. Great finish there by Shane Gibson. 65-58.
Great finish. Great finish.
Ed Horton almost got up there, too. I didn't know he had those kind of hops.
Warren Ward with it. Wright getting set to play the pick. Here's Maxwell. Dribbles at the top of the key. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Ward, not a whole lot going on. Here's Akeem Scott for three. Over top of Justin Johnson.
And that's the second time that we've seen Akeem Scott bail the London Lightning out with a three late in the shot clock. A much needed three, I might add.
Johnson has it. Gibson shows and gets. Loisel on this near side. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Backs in.
Wow.
Oh, great finish. Great pass
Fantastic pass by Kevin Loisel.
Well, we talk about recognizing mismatches there, and Akeem Scott was stuck guarding the cylinder. He's not the guy you want being the rim protector.
No.
So Loisel just goes after the rim knowing Hunt would be open.
Warren Ward misses that three from the very top. Meantime, a couple of changes coming up. It looks like Nick Okori will be coming into the game rather, and Cliff Clinkscales as well. Okori's had a very interesting finals considering how his playoffs have been.
Right.
Going 4 for 8 in game one and really having some very, very good games so far.
Sure. There's been moments where you definitely feel his presence, and I mean games like tonight you really don't know he's out there.
It's kind of been an up and down year for him, and I think on teams he's been on in the past, he's been looked to more as a go-to guy.
As the guy, yeah.
Whereas in London, he's kind of part of a core as opposed to being the go-to guy. So it's been an adjustment, and they don't need him shooting as many shots as we've seen in the past.
Bowdry does a great job collecting the ball, but Johnson does not. Ball out of play, London ball. Budweiser Gardens is quite excited about that.
A little bit of ball pressure can do wonders, gents.
Inbound coming from Horton along the baseline. Bounce pass. Corey can't quite get to it, but he's going to bump a Halifax player out. In fact, two of them. Bowdry and it looks like Shane Gibson both went to ground after that.
And here I said that, Nick Okori can't have an impact. Takes two guys out in one play.
It was a pretty heavy impact on that.
Literally an impact.
Let's try this again.
Scott now in the inbound. Horton's in motion trying to collect. He gets the ball right underneath. Misses. Taken here by the Halifax Hurricanes. Gibson. Here's Hunt. Down low. Capers, obviously a foul there. Got quite high on his jump. 1:17 left in this third quarter. And it looks like the Halifax Hurricanes will be going back to the line looking to add to their lead. 67-63. The Hurricanes shooting 50% now. London shooting 42%.
Coming into this series, Kyle Hunt was their leading scorer. He's been relatively quiet as well.
It's that one to drop. Hunt currently sitting at 5 points and 4 rebounds on the night. No fouls, which...
oh, good. He's saving for the final quarter. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see moving forward, considering some of the foul trouble that we've seen in a couple of players on Halifax and how physical these two teams can be. Akeem Scott with it. Here's Marcus Capers. Hands it off. Nick Okori for 2. Misses. Oh, he's got it!
Got the shooter's roll on that one.
Number 2 is good for 2. Nick Okori makes it 69-65. We've got a minute to go in the third.
He needed that one to drop.
Justin Johnson shovels it off to Gibson. Takes a step. Capers pushing him off his...
Mouse in the house. Give it to Hunt.
Johnson switches it. Kevin Loisel for 3. He misses it. Hunt with a very creative offensive rebound. Regardless, they're going to blow that one down.
He fought off 2 London Lightning players with one hand as he was doing his pizza thing with the other as he's balancing the ball.
Well, I almost feel bad for Akeem Scott there because I don't think he really fouled as much as he had Kyle Hunt just kind of lean back on him.
Right.
Not much the 6-foot Akeem Scott could do up against Kyle Hunt.
Not a whole lot.
That's the second time, though, in a very short span. We've seen the London point guard getting caught down in the post. That's a mismatch that Halifax can exploit, and I think that when they come back together here during the intermission, they're going to be able to talk about it and say, hey, if you see that point guard being or having to play defense on our big men. Give it to the big men.
Sure.
Because worst case scenario, point guard draws a foul. Or pardon me, point guard gets a foul.
I got the point.
Hakeem Scott moves his team around. He's going to draw the foul. That's going to go against Bowdry. That'll be his 4th. Keep that in mind moving forward. We've got 28 seconds left in the third.
And we've mentioned that London aggressively going to the rim all game long, and now we're seeing it start to creep up on the Halifax Hurricanes. Bowdry at 4 and Joel Friesen at 4. And then, of course, Mike Glover at 3 as well.
Right.
They're going to have to play some clean basketball in the fourth quarter if they're going to be able to stay in the game and keep their best lineups out there.
Hakeem Scott going back to the line. Seven and 5 so far in this series. Really, you'd have to think, where would London be in these playoffs without Hakeem Scott?
Well, he's one of the bigger additions to this team. He came over late in the season and just really settled down that point guard spot. They had a bunch of guys kind of playing point at various times during the year. They even tried a point forward thing with Garrett Williamson. I think Scott gives them a clear floor general, and that's something they lacked.
Corey latches on to Justin Johnson into the corner. Bowdry for 3, misses. Hunt with the offensive rebound. Capers gets his arm around him, and that's going to be a foul.
What exactly is Marcus Capers saying to the ref? Is he saying you didn't foul him? I'm trying to.
I didn't put my arm around him.
There's only one arm I caught, ref.
So Kyle Hunt goes to the line with 5 seconds left in this third quarter. Again, the Hurricanes with a 71-67 lead. They keep the lead through the third quarter, but this fourth quarter is going to be interesting. We've seen a couple interesting fourth quarters so far in this series.
That we have.
Hunt gets that one to drop. And Kyle Hunt, 10 for 15 from the field heading into this game, in the series, of course. Very effective player in the post especially. 5 seconds here on the clock for London. Hakeem Scott spins, keeps the ball, gets it up, gets it to go! Hakeem Scott!
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Arguably the biggest single performance we've seen on any play here at Budweiser Gardens.
Coast to coast, through traffic, spin move, bank off glass to beat the buzzer. Just by design.
Well, I don't even know how he got through the 2 defenders with that spin move. It looked like he was done, but he still managed to toss up a beautiful shot.
Well, that will wrap up the third quarter. Audley, thank you very much for coming up. Appreciate it,
guys.
as always.
Always a pleasure.
We're going to take
fantastic work.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here at Budweiser Gardens. Hello and welcome back to Budweiser Gardens. Game 3, fourth quarter. Nick Okori misses that 3 on the near side. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher up in the booth. London and Halifax on the floor. The Hurricanes have a 73-69 lead. Justin Johnson contested 2 misses. London moved the ball up. Of course, just right off of that, Akeem Scott, I don't even know what you'd call that. A dribble, shoot, sprint, dribble.
It was a prayer.
Yeah, a combination of a couple different things. Akeem Wright misses the 3. Oh, it rolls out. No good. Wright. Oh my goodness. Couldn't quite put back there. That was Williamson with it. Clinkscales for 3. Rims out. Some back and forth stuff here. Not a whole lot of passing so far. 73-69. London in white, Halifax in black. This series is tied 1-1. Winner takes a 2-1 series lead heading into Game 4 on Wednesday. Akeem Scott with another fantastic finish.
Great job fighting off the contact there, too. Cliff Clinkscales did not make that easy, but he was able to get the 2.
Scott now up to 17 points on the night, leading the game in that category. Clinkscales. Who's he got down low? He's going to find Kyle Hunt, who gets a putback. No. Loisel swats the ball down. Some very physical stuff between Maxwell and Loisel there. Right. Backs in on Glover, and Halifax somehow get it back.
Akeem Wright's got to get rid of that ball there. They had numbers.
Taken up to Kyle Hunt. Spins, fires, finishes. Big stuff from the big man.
Kyle Hunt doesn't have any fouls on him. Pardon me, he's got 1 foul on him. He's done a good job of this game. He hasn't done a whole lot of scoring, but he's been just a size presence clogging the lane. And I think we could see a big 4th quarter from him. He's kind of been waiting in the weeds. Now it's time to strike.
McCory takes it up over Kevin Loisel, misses the net completely. 10 minutes to go in this game. Clinkscales. Kevin Loisel wide open in this near corner. They're going to let him have the 3. He's going to get the 3!
He's been known for making those pesky 3s during his time in NBL Canada. I don't know why you give him that. I think Akeem Wright was just worried that if he went to defend that 3 and bid on a fake, then Loisel would have a clear pass to the rim. So kind of a good job not committing to that by Wright, but Loisel able to make it.
Williamson takes a step in and will get the and 1.
And 1 call here for Garrett Williamson. And as we mentioned, he had some very big struggles with the free throw line during that first half. And he worked on it during halftime. He had one of the ball boys feeding him passes and just took free throw after free throw in the last 5 minutes maybe of the halftime. And we'll see if it worked.
Garrett Williamson gets that bonus shot to drop. It's a 4-point game. Justin Johnson with it. The key is open. Hunt's going to crawl in. He's matched up against Akeem Wright down low. He's calling for it already. He's the hot hand. He gets it. Takes a step. He's going to take on Wright. 1-on-1. Spins. Oh, my goodness. Kyle Hunt!
Some beautiful, beautiful footwork by Kyle Hunt. Just makes it easy on himself by completely getting the defender right out of his path with some great footwork and able to put up 2 points. Kyle Hunt, again, primed for a big 4th quarter.
Garrett Williamson can't take it off to Nick Okori at the last second. Here's Kyle Hunt once again. Foul. Won't get that one to drop. No basket, but he will go back to the line. 14 points for him already. He's got a chance to make it 16. And naturally, Kyle Julius is going to call a timeout. Very interesting 4th quarter. Halifax outscoring London 7-5. What do you say if you're Kyle Julius right now? Just trying to slow things down, trying to relax his guys so far?
Well, it's completely about calming it down. Right now, the Hurricanes have more than 2. They have a 6-point lead, and that's not a huge amount, but you've also seen how quickly Halifax can turn that 6 into 12. So if you're the London Lightning, you want to just slow it down, make sure they get 0 momentum, and come out of this timeout, run a few set plays, get things back in your direction.
One interesting thing about this series, Chris, is how quarter by quarter, no team has really taken a big step. We've seen London, especially in these playoffs, give up big 3rd quarters to Windsor, etc. But when you look at this game, Halifax outscoring London by 2 in the 1st quarter, 1 in the 2nd, and then 1 in the 3rd. So there really is no big blips for either team so far in this series.
This has been the definition of a battle. And that's what we've seen on this game here, is both teams came out And the reason we're seeing these timeouts when it's only like a 6-point lead is because both teams understand how dangerous the other can be. So whenever there's a chance to make an adjustment to stop the other team's flow, you have to do it right away. You can't wait. So that's why we're seeing such quick timeouts like Kyle Julius here. It's only a 6-point difference. At the very start of the game, when London got an 8-0 run to start the game, Hugo Lopez called the timeout there, and that's what swung things back in Halifax's favor. Basketball, from a coaching perspective, is all about the adjustments you make during the game. And that's why we're seeing all these timeouts. That's why we're seeing it'll only be a but they'll still call the timeout, is because both coaches know how dangerous the other is and need to make those little tweaks to keep things in their favor.
80-74. The Monday night crowd at Budweiser Gardens, very solid considering. Not very many Monday night games we've had in this franchise's history. Upper Bowl closed for this one, a rarity. Hunt misses that first shot. London undefeated at home in the NBL Finals. They've made it now 3 times, winning all 4 of those contests. Here's Akeem Wright, steps, takes it all the way to the hoop.
Halifax napping a bit on that one. Akeem Wright just able to glide right in through the Halifax defense, able to get 2 points. I'm sorry, folks. I've been talking a long time.
There's a foul call. Looks like Friesen went to ground. Nick Okori with his hands at his side. It looks like that'll be his first foul. Taking a quick look at some of the foul trouble, we mentioned it before. Brandon Bowdry and Joel Friesen both on 4 fouls on Halifax. Meantime, Eric Kibbe and Akeem Wright both on 4 fouls. Didn't really have a whole lot of chance to talk about it with Audley on in the third quarter, but Kibbe coming in, getting those 4 fouls just like that and already out of the game. But his effect is certainly felt if you're London. Loisel draws the foul on the shot. He's going to the line.
Well, Loisel, I didn't expect him to still be in the game at this point, but he's put in some very good minutes here for the Halifax Hurricanes. He's got himself 9 points in this game, and he's a guy who's got a little extra to his game because he's got to beat his old team here. He knows these guys. We've seen him draw some charges. We've seen him do a lot of the little things, and a lot of it is because he's familiar with the London Lightning and knows what they're trying to do.
Second shot coming. 2 for 2, 82-76. We've got 8:25 left to play in this fourth quarter. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher up in the booth. London and Halifax on the floor. Okori goes to the floor. Looks like that's going to be a foul against, could be Friesen. Keep in mind, he's at 4 fouls. Waiting for the official confirmation from the scorer's table. Meantime, Williamson getting set on the inbound on this near side. That will go against Friesen. That will be his 5th foul.
Hugo Lopez not bringing in a reinforcement yet, though.
Scott hands it off to Akeem Wright. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Maxwell. Still with it. It's not his shot. He's going to take it to Wright. Really not his shot either. Takes it, contested as the shot clock expires. He misses. Here's Joel Friesen taking it to the hoop all the way with the slam. Joel Friesen gets the Halifax bench on their feet. Make it 84-76.
And the London crowd just got a lot quieter after that play. Joel Friesen taking a little bit of the wind out. Maxwell tries to put it back, but can't finish the alley-oop.
Answer back alley-oop. I don't think we've seen very many of those. Oh my goodness, Kyle Hunt. What a finish at the hoop. 86-76. All of a sudden, it's a 10-point game. Budweiser Gardens is silent right now. Akeem Scott with it. He can bring some energy into it. Foul. And 1.
Well, again, that was the difference between a block and a charge can go either way. One of the hardest calls to make. Akeem Scott's going to draw the blocking foul on that one and send himself to the line. Could be a big 3-point play here. Keeps London within reach of the Halifax Hurricanes.
Corey comes out, Ryan Anderson comes in, Marcus Capers comes in, Stephen Maxwell comes out. A couple of interesting changes. Chris, bringing in Marcus Capers to replace Maxwell, what do you get?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm wild about it. I think they're trying to keep Maxwell and Maxwell fresh for when Mike Glover inevitably returns to this game. And so they go with Capers here, but I think you're still giving up too much size against Kyle Hunt. Kyle Hunt's kind of been very strong for the Halifax Hurricanes in this fourth quarter. He's a guy I'd be a little bit more worried with than the London Lightning appear to be.
Klingscales with it. Now off to Friesen. Charges the hoop once again. Joel Friesen goes to ground. Everyone there heard it. Looks like he's okay. Likely came down on an elbow, and he's back up, and he's going to go to the line. 86-79. Halifax with the lead. We've got 7 minutes to play in this one. Friesen still looking a little sore, but regardless, he's getting set to take it. Misses that first shot. Sitting at 9 points on the night. We mentioned those 5 fouls, 2 rebounds as well. With the flag going behind the hoop, Joel Friesen drops it. 7 minutes to go, 87-79. Akeem Scott steps. He can shoot, he can pass. He's leading the team with 20 points and 10 rebounds. Swatted there by Kyle Hunt. Foul. And, it looks like that's going to be a foul against Joel Friesen. He puts his hands...
That's 6 on Friesen.
On his head. He's heading out. He's heading out. He knows it. Already stepping back towards the bench. Looks like he was maybe mouthing off to the referee. That's what led to that.
Well, I think the original call... Was the original call a foul, or did that go out of bounds? Because I saw there was Akeem Scott flew out of bounds. I thought that was a clean block. And then there might have been a late whistle there. And then on the late whistle, I think they called Friesen after. Pardon me, the foul was on Marcus Capers.
It sounded like it was an unsporting. And Friesen with his 6th.
Okay, Friesen got one too. I think Friesen got a little bit too demonstrative after Akeem Scott went out of bounds. Friesen seemed rather livid. I think he might have got an unsporting foul for his reaction there.
Bowdry has come into the game here for the Hurricanes. He's also on 4 fouls. Another one of those players on Halifax who are getting up there a little bit. Still got quite a bit of basketball to play. Akeem Wright takes a step. Here we go, Akeem Scott for 3. Misses the 3. Taken by Bowdry. He gets his first touch on the ball since coming into the game. Klingscales. Waits for some motion. Fires it across. This is Bowdry. Steps. Top of the key. Misses. Hunt with the offensive rebound, and it's going to go London way.
Yeah, they're going to say Hunt pushed off in order to get that rebound.
So Capers getting set on the inbound. Off to Akeem Scott. 5 fouls each in this one. We're approaching halfway in the fourth quarter. Ryan Anderson gets the shot off, gets the 3 to go.
Sweet 3-pointer there from Ryan Anderson. London Lightning crowd back into this game. They're only finding themselves down 5 here. The London Lightning keeping in touch. Hurricanes having some difficulty closing out a bit.
Klingscales bounces on this near side now. Loisel trying to get himself open in the post. Switches it over. Here's Bowdry contested over Capers. Airballs it. Great effort there by Loisel. Couldn't get it to drop. Here's Capers off to Garrett Williamson. Back to Capers. Big slam. Timeout, Halifax.
Hugo Lopez immediately. Oh, there's a tech on Mike Glover as well, I think.
I didn't quite see it, Chris. I know you got eyes on it.
I may have been mistaken there, but
we'll keep you posted.
It looked like the ref added an extra call there. I'm not 100% sure, but at the very least, Hugo Lopez taking the timeout here. They're up 3, but again, we've talked about how the momentum swings are huge. And I'm not going to lie, someone who has a big moment coming up is the dance pack, because they have to keep this crowd energized. They've got to keep that momentum going so that when the Lightning come out from this timeout, they can still be live, they can still be amped, and they can come out and try to close this 3-point deficit that they find themselves in Gear up, folks. We've got a crazy finish in store for you here in the NBLC Finals.
As we mentioned earlier in the show, if you missed it, 2 games in Halifax, 3 games in London, 2 games in Halifax, if necessary. Of course, if you want to win in London, if you are London, you've got to sweep this. You've got to win all 3. If you're Halifax, I mean, you lose, you drop a game, but you're going back home for a crucial game 6 and 7 in Halifax. London managed to get that game in Halifax. It's very, very tough to win at Scotiabank Centre. Team that went 20-4 in the regular season. Of course, they won all their home games and obviously all their games through the playoffs before taking on London. A very, very impressive home record. Obviously the best in the NBLC. London also with a very respectable home record. Save for that Game 1 loss against Windsor, they haven't lost at home since late March. 5:49 on the clock. Energy still going here at Bud Gardens. Clinkscales with it. To Gibson. Shimmies. Back to Clinkscales. Capers matching up against him. Into the corner. Boudry. Now to Glover. He's coming to the game. He can make a difference. Up against Wright. Spins. Finds some room. Runs into Garrett Williamson. No foul call. Great defense there by the London Lightning.
Here's team.
Akeem Scott with it. Tries to find a lane. He will. Put back. No. Taken there by Mike Glover. Fantastic defensive rebound. Bounce pass. Boudry steps in. Can't drain. Back and forth stuff by both teams, and that's a foul by Kevin Loisel.
Loisel just slowing the game down here. And of course, the fans adore Kevin Loisel as they thank him for giving them a breather.
It's funny you say that, but I'm pretty sure most London Lightning fans actually do adore Kevin Loisel. Akeem Scott with it. 5 minutes to go in this fourth quarter of Game 3 of the NBLC Finals. Scott takes it up, gets it to go. 1 point game.
This crowd is right back into it. London Lightning 1 point away from closing off what at one point was a nearly 10-point deficit.
Clinkscales switches it off to Gibson. Over top of Marcus Capers, he's well short of the net. Great defense there by Capers.
Akeem Scott looks hurt.
Williamson waits for Scott to come around. Oh, takes it. Akeem Scott misses, he's short. Loisel will hand it off, and now here's Cliff Clinkscales. You've got to think if you're Halifax, you want to slow this down. 4:20 on the clock now in the fourth quarter.
Loisel and Ryan Anderson really getting after each other here.
Also watch out for that Mike Glover, Akeem Wright matchup. Clinkscales misses the 3. Anderson with the rebound. Another foul against Kevin Loisel. That's his 5th. This is about as loud as Budweiser Gardens has been all night.
I'm not sure what would get this crowd louder at this point, a London three-pointer or a Kevin Loisel foul out.
So Loisel heads out. Justin Johnson coming in, and also keep in mind it looks like that Kyle Hunt is coming into Billy White's coming into the game. Boudry is coming out. I'm just waiting for Boudry's coming out as well, so keep that in mind, along with Kevin Loisel. 4 minutes. Ryan Anderson misses the opportunity to tie this one up.
Gotta make your free throws, kids.
You say that sometimes. Second shot from Ryan Anderson is good. 87-87. 4 minutes to go in this fourth. Clinkscales off to Justin Johnson. Ryan Anderson with the swat there, you see. This is White up top with that mask, as we mentioned earlier in the program. Johnson, bit of space. Moves around Ryan Anderson, takes it up himself. He's fouled. It's going to go against London. It's going to be their 6th of the quarter. Hurricanes have already fouled out. Chris, it's interesting. You've got on the Halifax side, you've got those guards charging to the hoop, but they're not making that last second pass, right? They're taking it straight to the hoop. It seems like they've got blinders on. Rather than taking that step in and chipping it out, they're going straight for it.
Well, it partly has to do with the lineup that Halifax has in this game. Is one of the ways they've been most effective is they'll have two guys who are almost like the designated three-point shooters, and that way when they cut to the basket, you have one of those guys out open as an outlet pass in case the drive doesn't work. But right now in this game, you've got Gibson, you've got Johnson. Those are the designated three-point shooters, I guess you could say. And they just haven't been open. London's really stopped that outlet pass from becoming a thing.
Warren Ward steps around, draws Billy White out a bit. He's not going too far. Right with the ball on this near side. Bit of a mismatch. Switches it. Great pass. Ryan Anderson, corner three. He misses. Halifax going to slow this one down. 2-point lead. Gibson, for three. Looks good. No good. Taken by Marcus Capers.
That could have been a huge momentum swing there. The basketball gods helped London out on that one.
Ball's tipped around. Taken here by Clinkscales. Massive stop for them. Fakes the pass. Takes it over to Justin Johnson, who smartly slows it down. We've got 3 minutes to go in game 3. Gibson moves across the baseline, slowly into the corner. Johnson still with it. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Johnson takes a step in, up, over, no good. Ball's tipped around. Ryan Anderson collects it. Can't find the ball. Now off to Mike Glover. Swatted there by Marcus Capers.
That's a flagrant. Easy. That might be a flagrant too.
Glover quick to look to the referee after that play.
And good job by Mike Glover, because he could have just thrown a punch there. But instead he keeps his cool, and now Marcus Capers might be leaving the game here. At the very least, that's a flagrant 1.
Capers already at 5, so no matter what.
Either way, he's out of the game.
Either way, he's gone. You can see how intense and competitive this series has been. When Glover is fouled like that, his instinct is to turn and look to the referee. His first instinct is to just stand there and give me that call, basically. You know what I mean? Rather than letting those, letting cooler heads prevail, you can see the strategy behind it. This could be a turning point.
Again, Glover had every right to be pretty mad on that. I think he did a good job of really keeping his calm, and now Capers is out of the game.
Mike Glover gets that second one. Massive free throw. Makes it a 4-point lead with 2:30 on the clock.
If the Hurricanes can score here, this could be a huge turning point in the game now, because it was at 1 point a 2-point lead, and then you have that flagrant. It's made both free throws to make London pay for it. Now if you can get 2 points here, you just turned a 2-point lead into a 6-point lead. That would be huge for the Hurricanes at this point.
Foul on that far side. It's something between Gibson and Akeem Scott by the looks of it. The ref walking over to the scorer's table. It's going to be an official's timeout.
I think one of the shot clocks might have gone out. I'm not 100% certain though.
So correction there on my earlier assumption that was a foul. No foul call. Both scorers' tables are active right now. They're working, and it looks like they just wanted 2 seconds taken off. It said 2:30, now it says 2:28. Clinkscales off to Mike Glover. The Hurricanes just want to slow this down. A massive game 3. Can they get one on the road? Can they get that one on the road early in this series? Johnson. Oh my goodness, Justin Johnson with the 3.
And just like that, it's a 5-point swing in Halifax's favor. You see how much that flagrant hurt. That was a huge play there by Justin Johnson.
In only the 5th 3 made in this game for Halifax, it could be a dagger. Right into the corner. This is Akeem Scott over top of Mike Glover, collected there by the man Justin Johnson.
I think London Lightning fans are really finding out what a fantastic player Mike Glover really is.
Johnson, you see Scott crawling back. He knows he's got to protect that 3-point line. He's trailing it right now. Gibson on the step back fade. Misses. Collected there by Warren Ward. Fires it out. Here's Ryan Anderson. He looks for the pass. Switches it. Here's Wright for three. Akeem Wright just so close. Akeem Scott switched roles, and that's going to be a foul. Halifax thought that was a clean block. Interesting to see Akeem Scott down low getting the rebounds and Akeem Wright taking the three, but a little role reversal for the Akeems.
Well, it shows you what a pit bull Akeem Scott is. There were 3 Halifax Hurricanes, and it's the 6-foot man that comes up with the ball.
2 shots coming here for Akeem Scott. Minute 25. These really got to go.
Got to make your free throws.
And London's sorrows from the free throw line continue. They are now 19 and 36. Good enough for 54%.
About 17 points your team could have had. 17. Incredible number.
Inbound coming here for Halifax. Klingscales takes the step in. Off to Johnson. London just hints of a full court press. Ward following Johnson all the way. His lanky arms getting in Johnson's way as he moves across laterally. Bit of a reach in, no call there from Hugo. A minute to go now.
Nice snag there by the Halifax coach. Pardon me. He had a catch though.
Lopez with the snag, hands it off to his Hurricanes. 7 seconds on the shot clock, minute 7 on the game clock. Johnson steps around, finds a bit of space, no call. Here's Akeem Wright.
Gotta make it count.
Scott, it's got to go to Ryan Anderson. It's got to be a 3. Ryan Anderson!
Ryan Anderson makes the huge 3. Coach Julius wants the pressure defense now. They want to turn up the heat. It's a 3-point game here. Halifax Hurricanes, you got to get some points here.
47 seconds on the clock. Johnson rolls around Ryan Anderson. No foul. Backing into Anderson now. He gets the ball back up top. It's been all Justin Johnson traveling.
You want to talk about your momentum swings. 38 seconds left in this game. The Halifax Hurricanes with the travel. London Lightning down 3. Now get a chance to make this even tighter. Marty, what a game we are witnessing.
An instant classic. A fantastic fourth quarter, really from both teams, but London's managed to come out big. Managing to outscore Halifax 22-21. Doesn't seem like much, but bringing it really close when it matters.
And right now, if you're the London Lightning, you can if you're confident you can make that 3, you can kill some clock here. Try and drill that 3. What they're likely to do is just get the 2 as quick as they can, and then try and get a stop on the defensive end. We'll see where the clock is if they get that 2. But my goodness, this wasn't. After that flagrant, I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of doubt in me, but the London Lightning have surged back here, and now we have ourselves what is setting up to be a great finish here in the NBLC Finals.
Halifax coming to London, taking that long plane ride, that long trip. Of course, London coming back as well, and Halifax hosting up here for at least the next 5 days. Could they close this one out? Could they get the Game 3 win? You're up 2-1. And maybe you get the next game, but regardless, at that point, you sort of retake that home court advantage that London took away.
Well, if you can
game 1.
If you can win this one, you put the other team in a lot of trouble, because if you get that 2-1 lead, it's the other team that has to answer. You can just keep playing your game. So this really is a big game in terms of playoff series momentum here.
Could they get 3? Ryan Anderson can shoot 1. No foul call. Billy White charges towards the hoop. Slam. No.
Miss. Oh, but he's fouled.
Billy White's fouled on the play. He's going to go to the line. Hands on heads for the London Lightning.
Yeah, that's just a tough break there for Ryan Anderson. Good defense by the Halifax Hurricanes. They really hounded him and kind of forced him in that turnover. And I feel for Ryan Anderson, because it kind of had to be a perfect pass based on how tight the defense was there. So even if he bobbled it for a half second, it was going to end up out of his hands. So in that case, I feel for Ryan Anderson. But at the same time, as much as I say it was a tough pass to handle, you still have to handle it with 35 seconds left in the game.
Keem Scott pumps up the crowd here at Budweiser Gardens. We've got 31 seconds left in regulation. Billy White, the masked man. Steals. Got lucky there. 95-91. The Las Vegas native. Misses the second one. Scott with the rebound, and now here come the Bolts. He's going to take it all the way to the hoop. Smart play from Akeem Scott.
Nice quick points there. It's only a 2-point game. London just has to stay calm here and not get anything too crazy. They're going to play some pressure here.
Johnson manages to move around Ward. That's a foul against the Londoner. His third. And they're going to go all the way down the court.
And Coach Julius is expectedly happy about that call. Just kidding. He's running all over the place there. But that definitely is a foul. And that's going to send the Halifax Hurricanes to the free throw line. You know, it's not what they wanted to do, but there's a lot worse scenarios for them. Because, say, you've got Johnson here at the free throw line. If he misses one, then you get the ball back with a ton of time on the clock to try and nail that three.
Gets the first one. 3-point game. Should mention Mike Glover has come out of the game. Kyle Hunt has come in, the team's leading scorer, at 16 points. Johnson gets that second one as well. It's now a 4-point contest. Williamson moves it across. Ward can shoot a three. They're going to take it down low. Blocked there by Billy White.
Big stop there by Billy White. And now the Halifax Hurricanes going to make it a lot tougher on the London Lightning if they drill these free throws here.
Slams it off of the backboard with 17 seconds left. They could close this one out. Justin Johnson gets that one as a few London Lightning players, or fans rather, head for the gates. A couple enter the stairway and take a look out. We'll see how this one's going to end. Ryan Anderson for three. It's going to be short. He'll get his own rebound now off to Akeem Wright. He'll take a three. He'll get that one. So at 9 seconds now, it's a 2-point game. Inbound coming.
Foul.
The quick foul is there, so there's now 8 seconds. And once again, Justin Johnson going to the line.
Well, I think some of those Lightning fans are going to regret going to the tunnel so quick, because right now, if the Halifax Hurricanes miss one of these, the London Lightning have some life back in them if they can drill a quick three after that.
So Justin Johnson goes back to the line. He's getting a lot of these opportunities late in this game. He's now 5 for 6. The Hurricanes hit the century mark. 100-96. 8 seconds to go. Money. Johnson closes this game out here for the Halifax Hurricanes. They win game 3 and take a 2-1 series lead. Wright misses that three, and Akeem Scott can't get the putback. The Halifax Hurricanes win at Budweiser Gardens 101-96 to take game 3 of this NBLC final. We're going to be right back with the postgame show. To 96, a great finish, Chris. Halifax retake home court advantage.
Well, Halifax played an absolutely magnificent game out there. They gave London everything they had. And, I mean, that was a great show of a game. The offense really picked up in that second half. And I love the fact that they played defense tonight. So if you like scoring, you probably like game 2 a little bit better. But if you like the two-way basketball, if you like to see two teams get after each other, that was the game for you.
What are some of the storylines coming out of this game? We know there are a lot coming out of Game 2, heading towards Game 4 on Wednesday. There's a lot to talk about.
Well, I think tonight proved that London's going to have troubles down low. Mike Glover and Kyle Hunt were able to do just about anything they wanted to in the post, and when Maxwell came out of the game, there wasn't really an answer on the London roster. So I think that's something London's going to have to figure out, is what can we do when Glover and Hunt are in the game to really try and negate those two. I also got to give props to Akeem Scott. Unfortunately, his team lost, but he had 25 points, I believe 10 rebounds, and 12 assists. So I think he got the triple-double. Not sure if they counted that last little bit there as a rebound, but I believe Akeem Scott got the triple-double on that one. And if he didn't, he deserved it. So, I mean, Akeem Scott was great for the London Lightning. On Halifax, you got to give it up to pretty much the whole crew there. They had great efforts from everyone on the roster. Brendan Bowdry actually had a really nice game for them. And guys like Kevin Loisel, too, did a lot more scoring than I think anyone expected. So I thought that was a great job by the entire Halifax group to, especially their bench, to really put a dent in London's title hopes and try and propel Halifax to an NBL championship.
Kyle Julius and the London Lightning have the benefit of staying in their home city for the next day before Game 4. If you're Kyle Julius, what kind of adjustments do you make in the London Lightning? Who do you look towards?
Well, I think for Kyle Julius, he's going to have to start double-teaming Mike Glover every single time the guy touches the ball, because Mike Glover was just too strong, and they tried Maxwell. He worked, but unfortunately they don't have an answer after Maxwell. Kibbe did an all-right job, but he picked up those fouls too quickly. So I think for London, answering Mike Glover is going to be the adjustment they make, and for Halifax, it's going to be staying loose. They're going to have to stay in London for a week now. They don't get to rest in their own beds, and that travel is going to take a toll on them, and being away from home that long. So for them, it's going to be a matter of being able to stay sharp and to stay strong as they have to spend a whole week away from home.
We'll be here for Game 4 on Wednesday. Of course, Game 5 will take place on Friday. We'll be looking towards that as well. So for Chris, myself, and everyone here in the broadcast crew, thank you very much for tuning in. The final score tonight, Halifax 101, London 96. The Hurricanes take Game 3 of the 2016 NBLC Finals and take a 2-1 series lead.